Guest of the Demon Mountain, 2, Ruching. The first elder sighs and makes a frustrated face. I have told you before that you don't have to worry about the businesses related to the king. If Her Highness trespasses into the Demon Mountain, then there will be His Majesty coming to save her. There's no need for you to interfere. Not to mention, the relationship between the queen and the one residing here is not ordinary to begin with. Seemingly decided now in her mind after being reprehended, Godfather, it's precisely because she's our queen that it's more dangerous. I heard Lady Suzaku has an extraordinary relationship with Sire, and in the past, she has already burned one of His Majesty's admirers after the woman trespassed into her domain. If it becomes known that the queen is here, what do you all think would happen? And sure enough, Bai Yan's attention has been caught, just that it's only the look of someone confused by what they were hearing. Moreover, who doesn't know the one here in the Demon Mountain is very special? In fact, if there were no queen, then maybe the position of queen would have been hers instead. I'm only doing this out of concern for Her Royal Highness's safety. In a fit of rage, the first elder directly sends a slap across Jun Ruching's face over that outrageous statement. Now on her snowy white skin was the print of 5 fingers due to the impact. Ruching, you disappoint me. The elder sighs, exhausted by everything that's transpiring. He honestly thought his goddaughter could control her feeling for Deetsong, but his expectations were wrong, very wrong. Can love really make a person lose their senses so easily? First elder, quell your anger first. I'm sure Ruching didn't mean to do what she did. The rest of the elders quickly steps in to help soothe the situation. They are aware of how sensible the fox woman could be at these times, yet this occasion went against all that they know of her. What's more, she has the audacity to frame Deetsong. If word reaches the man's ear, a storm would ensue without a doubt. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. That's right, Ruching made a mistake, that's her fault no doubt. However, her intents were good in the end. If we must find some sort of fault here though, it would be her misconception of the queen being a palace maid. Otherwise, why would she come running to us for help? When Bai Yan heard the elder's persuasions, she actually gawked her mouth in surprise. Facing the ghastly white fox woman, Miss, have we met before? The elders are likewise startled by the question then. What does she mean by this? Didn't Ruching say she had tried to persuade Her Highness in not stepping into the Demon Mountain? What's this stuff about have we met? Son, have you seen her before? Bai Yan pulls her son in front of herself and made a deep smile. As the most adorable and lovable son of his mother, Bai Xiachen would of course not miss the meaning behind those words. Making the most devious and sly grin. Mother, isn't she the lady in charge of sweeping the floor? I remember she was constantly squatting outside our place. To think she was the first elder's goddaughter. Turning to said elder, the baby boy then puts on the most dissatisfied face he could make. Grandpa elder, does my baddie father know about this? Pushing your own goddaughter into being the cleaning lady is not right, you know. Guest of the Demon Mountain, 3. The boy's words may appear nominally on Jun Ruching's side, but in fact it's to tell the elders one thing. During this period the woman has been stalking the White Moon Palace acting as a cleaning lady. Therefore, the lie of not knowing who the queen was becomes false. You're spouting lies. The fox woman cries out in desperation, falling into panic as she does so. I have never disguised myself as a palace maid, you are framing me. Instead of being angered at being called a little liar, Bai Xiachen only popped his mouth into a shape like he's surprised as well. So it's not Grandpa Elder who sent you to clean my home, it's you doing it on your own? I'm sorry Grandpa Elder, it's my fault for wronging you. That said, the boy then sincerely bows his head like a good little kid. I was too quick to judge earlier, my apologies for the mistake. Her outfit is simply too similar to the other palace maids, that's why I thought she was a cleaning lady when she was sweeping the floor with the broom. Highness, you don't need to be so polite with us, after all, you didn't mean it. The first elder then shifted his attention back over to his goddaughter who clearly lost control of the situation. Ruching, explain yourself this instant. She is Jun Ruching? Bai Xiachen abruptly exclaims, showing a look of horror for some reason. Originally, the foxwoman was already trembling from her godfather's interrogation, but the boy's loud voice only made it worse. In that moment, she actually went numb and went to the knees. "Highness, do you know this goddaughter of mine?" Shifting to the little prince, the first elder asks. Making a tied look for the longest time, Bai Shuchen eventually speaks. "A few days ago, Huang Xiaoying came to find mother in order to make trouble. Fortunately, auntie was there also and stopped it before it could happen. Then after a confession due to duress, Huang Xiaoying came clean and revealed it was this woman who led her along, claiming mother had multiple affairs with other men before coming." Visit my site on Patranslation if you wish to read ahead of public releases for the sake of his own tiger friend. Bai Shuchen could only keep the fact that Huang Xiaoying divulged everything for the sake of little rice. After all, it's not good for one's reputation to have a century-old lioness going after a baby cub, thus the blame could only fall on Di Xiaowan. Jun Ruqing. The first elder roars, "You got some nerve there, framing the queen behind her back? Do you think sire's sight is blind or something? You think he wouldn't know the queen's character well?" Getting more and more flustered now, "Godfather, that Huang Xiaoying is framing me, I have done no such thing." "Ho ho, are you taking me for a fool or thinking I have a twisted mindset? A brainless girl like that Huang Xiaoying could never hatch a plan of this scale or intricacy." The first elder has lost all the warmth from his voice, turning stern and serious like a figure of authority that he was. Meanwhile, in the background, Bai Shuchen only watched in silence while holding Bai Yan's hand. Why do I keep getting the feeling that Huang Xiaoying would be very sad if she learns of the elder's opinion? "Godfather, I am wrong, I know I am wrong, I beg you not to tell His Majesty about this." In a desperate plea, Jun Ruqing pulls against her godfather's sleeve, tears falling like a waterfall. If was in the past, the other elders present would have already stepped in to help out. However, the matter involves the royal family and the fault definitely lies with her. How could a girl who was so clever in the past become so vicious? Second elder, third elder, finding no hope from this angle, Jun Ruqing hurries to look elsewhere. "You two must help. If things reach the king's ear, it will be the end of me." Guest of the Demon Mountain 4. Thinking of the consequences, Jun Ruqing's face now grew extremely pale and could literally be described as a ghost. But regardless of her begging and head-banging from the kowtowing, none of the elders would move. They only had disappointment left for the girl. "Queen," the first elder sighs and cups his hand at Bai Yan. "This is my fault for not disciplining her well, leading her to have such a distorted heart. I will personally report this to His Majesty. Is that fine?" Bai Yan didn't speak, only giving a silent nod before turning away with her son in tow. However, there are simply those who don't learn or understand their own mistakes. From out of nowhere in the back, "Queen, I indeed made a mistake out of jealousy, but if I were you I wouldn't continue. I can't bear to watch you die." Covering that blazing hatred in her eyes now, the foxwoman wants to make one final attempt at ruining Bai Yan's relationship. There are no lies about sire's relationship with Lady Suzaku. If you insist on going up the Demon Mountain, you will surely die. That instantly causes Jun Ruqing to stiffen over as she looked up to see that indifferent gaze shooting her way. I've already said it to this extent, how can she be so unfazed by this? It can't be. Does she really not care about His Majesty being with other females? Impossible, there's no woman in this world who would willingly allow their man to cheat on them, nor would they accept multiple wives to share their husband. "Queen, you may not care about sire having concubines in his harem, but Lady Suzaku will definitely care about your existence." Going all in now, Jun Ruqing gnashes her teeth and didn't care anymore. After all, they've known each for so long already, you are merely a latecomer. The implication her words were that Suzaku should be the main wife while she's nothing but a third party who came in later to steal another woman's man. "Jun Ruqing, you are looking for death." The first elder has completely exploded with rage now. In his fit, the man actually sent a punch directly onto his goddaughter's chest and sent the foxwoman flying across the grasses. Despite the trickling of blood coming out of her mouth, the jealous one had on a rather happy smirk in light of her dire situation. "I won't let you have a good time either, even if it means my death." Lady Suzaku will definitely kill you. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Queen, don't listen to her nonsense. The first elder anxiously turns to Bai Yen, his voice urgent and afraid. Lady Suzaku can't be in a relationship with His Majesty, it's impossible. The possessive desire of a woman mustn't be underestimated, it's a terrible thing to meddle with, that much the first elder knew. However, the old man obviously thought too much of it this time. Is that it? The reason you cried out for me? Unfazed and without an ounce of care, Bai Yen mildly asks the defeated woman. Isn't that news big enough? Jun Ruqing pops her eyes in disbelief. If there is nothing of importance, then don't call out to me again. As for you elders here, I'm sure I will get a proper answer for today's incident, am I right? Squinting her eyes to scan the group of old farts who came today, Bai Yan's warning tone takes them hostage like a knife. Subconsciously rubbing that neck like his head's about to roll, the first elder hurries to answer. Of course, Your Highness, Sire really loves you. The whole reason the palace harem remains empty to this date is all for your sake. Ho! Jun Ruqing snorts then, not believing the statement from her godfather at all. How stupid can godfather be? There's no way this woman would believe such an obvious lie. After all, how can anyone foresee the future centuries away when the human woman hasn't even been born yet? Guest of the Demon Mountain, 5. Oh, I know. As a result of that mild and indifferent way of answering from Bai Yen, Jun Ruqing's last tinge of contempt was lost. Right now, there's only incredulous and disbelief in that face. Is the queen that stupid? Godfather's words are obviously there to deceive her, why would she believe that nonsense? The other elders also exchanged looks of oddity, for they didn't expect such shameless words either from their leader. Furthermore, they never thought the queen to believe it too. This point immediately sent the fox woman into a terrible shake. Indeed, the matter of her identity was a big sore spot in her mind. Take Huang Xiaoying for example. There's been multiple occasions where she would have liked to be in the same situation, make plenty of trouble and still have her old man clean up the mess. But she couldn't. She's only a daughter of a small little general that perished. By coincidence and by fate, she was then accepted as the goddaughter of the first elder due to her cleverness and ability to please. Ha! Out of the blue, Jun Ruqing just laughed and made the most painful face anyone has ever seen her made. If my identity is not worthy, then what about hers? Pointing straight to Bai Yen with that accusing finger, her actions were damning and caused her godfather to turn green. But before the old man could explode again, the moment was cut short by a female call of a bird from within the mountain valley. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. This absolutely delighted the fox woman till she's openly laughing in a maniacal manner. Do you all hear that? That's Lady Suzaku's bird call. This woman is doomed for stealing from the Demon Mountain. There's no way she would let this person leave even if she is the queen. Suzaku has killed every female who tried to seduce the king that came here. There's no way this would be any different. From within the void, an enraged and rumbling voice quickly drifted over, causing everyone's heart to go numb from fright. Who is coming to my Demon Mountain to make trouble? They are asking for death. It was so hard to be reunited with the queen. How dare they come and interrupt our great reunion? It's just that. When Suzaku swept her sharp gaze across the field in this valley, her face quickly caught sight of the target of her fealty, which also causes her to become doubtful and confused. Does this group know the queen? If so, touching them won't be so good then. Lady Suzaku! Jun Ruqing cries out, her eyes showing joy after seeing the elder's ghastly expression. You are finally here. This woman not only came to steal from the Demon Mountain, she is also delusional enough to want to become the queen of the demon realm. Please punish her. The vermilion bird just gawked like her brain just went poof. What? Queen have always been the mistress of this realm. What delusion and want? Clearly 1,000 years of experience hasn't prepared Suzaku for this level of stupidity. Ruqing, if you be good and walk away with me now, I can still save you out of consideration for our bond through the years. But if you continue to tarnish the queen's name, then don't blame me for being cold and not helping you. Whatever comes next is your own doing. No matter how disappointed he was of this fox woman, the first elder still wanted to give her a final chance to save herself from utter destruction. Godfather, I don't know what you are talking about. Flickering a vicious light in her eyes, Jun Ruching didn't give a hoot and presses on with her nonsense. Everyone knows Lady Suzaku is in love with His Majesty. Now that someone is trying to steal the Queen's throne, it's only to be expected that her ladyship would be enraged. Guest of the Demon Mountain, 6. Even if I can't escape my imminent death, I still won't let her do any better. Thinking of this, Jun Ruching's eyes are now openly hostile. As for Suzaku the Vermilion Bird, she was even more confused and lost. The only thing running through this glamorous woman's head now was that last comment and the fear of what it entailed. Stinking bitch, what are you talking about? In her urgent rage, she quickly steps out from the void and lashes out in defense of herself. When did I like the king? Why did I never know I liked the king? Making a dismissive smile, the fox woman only took this as the other side being shy and didn't want to let everyone know. But it doesn't matter, her goal has been achieved for the impression's been made regarding Bai Yen as the third-party thief. The next action from Suzaku went against everything that's been planned. Her resentfulness was displayed fully in the glare she shot over to the criminal responsible for this mess, which only got emphasized when Suzaku turned back to Bai Yen with a tearful and pitiful face. If one didn't know better, they might just assume she's being abandoned by her husband that caught her cheating and was now in the middle of trying to make excuses. Bai Yen, on the other hand, only felt increasingly uncomfortable under that look. Rubbing her arms like she's just got the goosebumps. You insulted Di Tsong just now, you know. What do you think he would do if he learns of it? That immediately caused a horrible change in Suzaku's face. She has always found the opposite sex disgusting. That's why she ended up saying that sentence without forethought. However, that doesn't excuse the fact that the man she's so jealous of was the king and husband to the woman whom she's sworn absolute loyalty to. Sister Suzaku, you just scolded Batty Father, especially while in front of Mother. If he learns of what you did, he will definitely come pluck your feathers. All smiles, the little steam bun just had to chime in at the worst possible moment. Going stiff like a rock, Suzaku's face had fallen into full panic mode. Don't assume just because Di Tsong has lost his memories of the past that he would turn a blind eye to this transgression. Whenever it's related to Bai Yen, the man always stands at the forefront and would plow through any obstacle or threat. And now, she's insulted him right in front of the biggest taboo possible. It'd be a miracle if he doesn't chop her to pieces and make some roast chicken out of it. Queen, you have to help me. Suzaku then pulls at Bai Yan's hand, her face pitiful and crying, You have to save me from the king. If you don't, then I will die in front of you. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Stop crying already. Scanning the people present, her gaze carefully swept across everyone while making a heavy grin. If I don't say it and they don't say it, who do you think will tell him then? As long as she doesn't tattle, then these old-timers are sure to keep their mouths shut lest they want to get on her bad side. Phew, then that's great. Heaving a long sigh of relief, the Vermilion Bird lady swiftly returns to her old confident self as she eyed the criminal responsible for her misfortune. Under that squinting stare, Jun Ruching's face had lost all the blood from it. No, impossible. Lady Suzaku clearly likes the king. Otherwise, why else would she kill off all those females who tried to seduce His Majesty? And why is she acting like a little wife before the queen? You are called Jun Ruching? Suzaku's snarl has now formed an intimidating smile, thus allowing the bloodthirsty light to practically shine out of her iris. What? Do you have an opinion about my guest? Widening her eyes in disbelief, the fox woman ends up stumbling backwards till she finally falls to the floor. I wouldn't dare. Not dare. Suzaku's smile was now baring teeth and releasing a suffocating aura of murder across the landscape. You're already trying to frame her by saying she's here to steal the Demon Mountain's treasure. She is my guest. If she wants, everything here is hers to take. What else do you have to say for yourself? The horror on Jun Ruching's face only grew worse. The treasures in the Demon Mountain is hers to take? Why is Lady Suzaku treating this human woman so differently? Sister Suzo, she likes my baddie father. and slandered my mother about having multiple affairs behind his back. Looking up at the glamorous woman who only grew more furious with every word, Bai Xiaochen intends to add as much fuel to the fire as possible. Why are there so many people out there who wants to take my old pops away? Guest of the Demon Mountain, 7. That's so? Suzaku then raises a I got it smile. You want to use me to crush your rival, hence the reason why you framed me about liking His Majesty. The fox woman wanted to back off again after that statement. Sadly for her though, there's nowhere left to back off to due to the big tree in the back. Unfortunately, pressing a few steps forward, the vermilion bird changes her smile to a sinister one that raised all the hair against her victim. Suza, hate being used by others. Bang! In a sweep of her hand, a flaming ball of heat promptly flew out and smashed right into Jun Ruqing's chest. You can all scram now. Shifting her sharp gaze to the elders next. By the way, tell sire that the queen will be staying at the Demon Mountain for a while. After saying that, Suzaku was just about to turn when guilt got the better of her. Remember to tell him this is Her Highness's will. She promised me to stay. In case the man would think I've kidnapped his family and come fight me for her. Making a meek smile, the first elder didn't want to go any deeper. All right, I will definitely report the truth to His Majesty. As for my goddaughter, issuing out a long helpless sigh, you can do as you please with Ruqing, I won't interfere or be involved anymore. Oh, downright rude in her response, Suzaku lays it down bluntly. You can't get involved even if you want. Now scram. For Deed Song it's fear, for Bai Yen it's respect. However, for everyone else, she's not going to give a hoot about the rest. And sure enough, the members of the Demon Council promptly backed out of the mountain valley, leaving behind the still horrified fox demoness to fend for herself. Queen, how should we deal with this woman? Rubbing her chin, Suzaku asks. Still indifferent as usual, Bai Yen only shot a single glance at the person. You can do as you see fit. I need to go refine these ingredients while they are still fresh. I fear I won't have any time to deal with her. Okay, all smiles. Then I will make sure she regrets the decision for the rest of her life. Jun Ruqing's iris magnified as a result of the intense fear, that voice shaking. No. I don't want to die. I beg you, please let me go. Despite the repeated pleading, the fox demoness actually broke out into a hysterical laughter afterwards. Queen, you will not be able to get what you want. Do you think that His Majesty really loves you? If not for you shamelessly giving birth to this brat, you think sire would have accepted you? Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Shut up. Suzaku's face got cold and murderous. In the next second, a gulf of flame promptly seeped out of the floor to devour Jun Ruqing's entire existence, burning her and searing that soul. Though the pain was so immense that it had completely distorted the woman's face, the look in those eyes were release and success. Not missing this strange behavior, Suzaku sneered and laughed at the target. You want to irritate me and have me kill you immediately? Too bad for you, it won't go as you wish. My vermilion flame can burn infinitely so long as I will it, all the while healing and damaging you at the same time. You can enjoy a month of this pain before I'm done with you. Ha! Ah! From within the burning flame, Jun Ruqing's voice have already become hoarse and ghostly, making it all the more hair-raising as it resounded across the mountain. You will all pay for this. Pay for this, you hear me? Bai Yen, don't think for a second Suzaku can protect you forever on this demon mountain. There are plenty more like me who wants to be the queen. There is bound to be one who will take your life. While curses and the smell of burning flesh and soul made up the background, Bai Yen on the other hand never once turned back like she's oblivious to the torturous scene. Mother, looking up like he's worried for some reason, Bai Xiaochen attempts to make some comforting words. Don't listen to that evil woman. Batty father only have you in his eyes, I'm only second fiddle. Guest of the Demon Mountain, 8. Bai Yen went stiff over that sentence, her eyes showing a glint of surprise. Are you worried that I will be affected by the words of that person? Not answering for a while, the little steam bun appears to be troubled and was trying to think of a proper response. You silly, petting her son's hair, Bai Yen turns it around to comfort the boy instead. As if your mother I would be so easily manipulated by others? For some reason, when Bai Yan heard her son's sentence there, she had a strange feeling it's full of grief. Didn't you dislike him before? Why you helping him so much now? Tilting that little head of his, it's true I don't like Batty father. He not only bullies me, he also bit mother. I would never bite mother like that. It must hurt, right? In the eyes of this youngling, the biggest impression he has of Ditsong was the fact that he forcefully kissed Bai Yan. Well, to him it only looked like a ferocious bite and nothing more. But Bai Xiachen then bursts into a gleeful smile. Batty father is able to protect mother. As long as he can protect you, then I don't care. Anyone who can protect you is fine in my book. That instantly brought on a wave of warmth into Bai Yan's heart. Smiling straight to her eyes, I'm so happy to have a son like you. Let's go, this time I must succeed in creating that pill. Once I do, I can then have an immediate breakthrough. K. Inside the Snake Clan's home, an old man was currently sitting there with his knees crossed. Due to how weak that body was, one could barely tell he was alive if not for that small sound of breathing. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Ancestor, I just got a message from Qing Shui. She is asking when she can come back. A middle-aged man asks after pushing open the door to this room. Note, Qing Shui is the other snake woman who wants to make trouble from that incident. Going bitter in his lip, the one known as the ancestor of these snakes could only close his eyes. I'm afraid she can't come back anymore. Frowning over that answer, what is the meaning of this? Qing Wan made a mistake. That's true, and it's her problem. There's no reason for the entire snake clan to be involved. Does sire really intend to punish our entire family over one single woman's fault? Ha, snake ancestor just made a wry smile again. If only that was the case. Sadly, Qing Wan had summoned me over during the confrontation, and I too made the mistake of moving against the queen at that time. Considering His Majesty's personality, you think he would let us off? But it's already been a few days since he returned to the demon realm. Ancestor, are you sure you're not overthinking this? The middle-aged man then chuckles slightly like he's not willing to believe what's happening. As if His Majesty would wipe out our entire snake clan for a woman. What's more, we're preparing to attack the celestial realm. Why would sire weaken his own strength? The old snake shakes his head and shatters that illusion. Qing Feng, the man didn't come during this period, not because he couldn't, rather he feels no urgency to do so. Once he's done tending to the other matters at hand, he will definitely come dispose of our clan. After saying this, the said senior becomes too tired to keep his eyes open and closes them. And, considering the man's strength at the time, he could have easily killed me back then. Yet he left me alive, what for? It's to deal with me in person after he returns to the demon realm. Guest of the Demon Mountain, 9. That useless Qing Luan. If she wants to be the queen, then it can't be so blatant. Fortunately, our snake clan still have Qing Shui. If she can escape this calamity, then the position will definitely be hers in the future. Qing Feng was ready to refute the ancestral snake again when a flustered voice from the outside interrupted him. Chief, this is not good. It's His Majesty. He's demanding your presence and is ordering you to crawl over to him. What? The middle-aged man shuddered at the news. It can't be. Ancestor is right and intends to wipe out our entire snake clan? Yes, Ancestor. Closing his eyes, the man bows his head in compliance before turning away for the door. The main lobby of the snake clan's home. Qing Feng had just stepped into the hall when he was immediately confronted with the peerless contour of the mentioned man. Sire. Trembling all over, the snakish individual hurries to scurry forward with no way to speak. Against that presence, all his excuses and words were lost in that instant. You snakes are really bold, you know, daring to touch my wife and child even. The cruel and bloodthirsty light beams out of Ditsong's eyes as he spoke. Or have the years of peace completely muddled the snake's awareness? The original snake family here was no more than slaves working under the protection of the demon realm, the lowest of the low. In fact, most of the other racial clans were free to give them a few kicks whenever they pleased. That's how low they were and how powerful the old clans were. For example, the dragon and phoenix race alone were enough to make the snake clan cry for mercy. Sire, This is entirely the fault of Qing Wan. She has already paid the price. Clearly trembling in that voice, Qing Feng wanted to pray for some kind of help right now. Please have mercy on our clan. I promise none of our members would ever do something so foolish again, like going after the position of being the queen. Di Tsang only sneered at that lie, as if a simple Qing Wan would have the courage to do what she did. Don't think I wouldn't know. I'm perfectly aware of your entire clan's scheme by this point, including many others as well. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Qing Feng was stiff as a rock over the last part. Why is His Majesty so heartless? It's common for a man to have multiple wives in this day and age. What's wrong with us wanting to send a member of our clan to his side? Someone come. Expressionless and unreadable, Di Tsang coldly calls out to his minions. Sire, please give your command. The leader of the group that came with him promptly answered. The snakes dare to scheme against the royal family. The crime is treason and shall be punished with death. None is to live today. None is to live today. That look, that tone, it's so cold and heartless that it's like the entire clan of snakes in the demon realm were dispensable extras. But in truth, they're not, and would greatly cause a hurdle to his grand plan of invading the celestial realm. Even so, their behavior has completely violated his bottom line, a step that never should have been taken. Sire. Qing Feng slams to the ground in a begging posture. Please have mercy. Attacking the celestial realm requires a lot of manpower, and the forces must be in great shortage. Our snakes will definitely be useful in your great plan. Please forgive us this time and allow us to make amends. Guest of the Demon Mountain, 10. Looking down at the middle-aged snake, Di Tsang's tone was cold and oppressive. Do you know why I'm attacking the celestial realm? Startled there for a second, Qing Feng looks up in amazement over the strange question. It can't be. The reason is not because he's irritated by the hypocrites in that realm? Not missing the dilemma surrounding his prey's mind, Di Tsang's first reaction was to smile even more deeply, making his face all the more terrifying to those looking. It's because my wife wants to place the celestial realm under her feet. His voice rises to a domineering level. So, do you think I would let you snakes get away with harming her? For her alone, he's willing to turn heaven and earth to get what she wants. Now imagine the crime of trying to take her life. This snake clan was screwed. The sole reason he's making the entire demon realm attack the celestial realm is because his wife wishes for it. For a single woman? No. Raising that shocked head to meet Di Tsang's, this snake who now carries the burden of keeping his clan from utter destruction felt helpless and scared. Panic now reigns over his heart. I must inform Qing Shui of this. She must get away. The king is mad. For a single woman, for his queen, he's willing to sacrifice all of us. Your Majesty, I beg you to give me a few more days. Afterwards, I will personally come to the palace to meet my end. Banging his head hard against the floorboard, Qing Feng's forehead now riddles the ground with his oozing blood. Still cold and indifferent, Di Tsang was unmoved. I've returned to the demon realm for well over a few days already. Any mercy I have is already given. We're finished. Despair now fills the snake's eye. He had wanted to take the last opportunity to inform Qing Shui to give up on getting revenge, but not even that was given. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. This time our clan is done for. Begin. Upon those words, the man's very existence seems to grow exponentially more dangerous, suffocating those that's unfortunate enough to be nearby. Yes, sire. Moving forward, the guards quickly surrounded the residence with no room for escape. This left Qing Feng utterly bitter inside, for he never thought such a day would come. Ignoring everything, their clan should have deserved better, especially when they're the ones who found the princess years ago. Sire. A voice suddenly rushes in from the outside, followed quickly by a flushed personal who clearly ran a long way. Sire, the queen has gone to the Demon Mountain. Slightly wrinkling his forehead. The one in the Demon Mountain would never harm her. But, the guard anxiously looks up like he's afraid to speak. Jun Ruqing claimed the purpose of Her Royal Highness coming to the Demon Realm is to steal the treasures from the Demon Mountain. That's why the elders are currently chasing up to her right now. Di Song's complexion sank until it's dreadfully dark. That oppressive aura was tangibly visible now, making it all the more frightening for the messenger. Then by the time the person wanted to explain the part about Suzaku already disposing of the mess, it was too late. The demon lord's already gone. This is bad. The messenger's face was ghastly pale. I didn't have time to finish the story yet. Why did the king leave so quick? If His Majesty misunderstands and assumed the elders were going there to help that Jun Ruqing, then I will be the one responsible for the fault. Love, 1. First Elder. On the Demon Mountain, the First Elder was in the middle of rushing down of the place when he overheard the call from his brothers who were trying to keep up with his pace. Is there anything else you guys want to ask? One of the old men present hesitates for a while before asking, did you know ahead of time that Lady Suzaku wouldn't trouble Her Highness? Giving the rest a long look, the leader of this bunch eventually nods, confirmation their suspicion of why their leader would be so certain Jun Ruqing was lying back there. There are some things that can't be said in one go. Back then I was still very young, so I'm not entirely in on the full story, so only the state teacher does regarding the state of everything. However, I do know enough that Lady Suzaku would never harm the queen. The one who just passed us? Is that the king? The man's face was terribly pale at the thought. It seems to be him. Another elder gulped. Why do I have the feeling someone is going to suffer very soon? Under the glowing white light of the landscape on this demon mountain, the red burning flame that's created under the power of the vermilion bird was exceptionally out of place. This was the prison and punishment for the fox demoness. King. The fox painfully murmurs after discovering the purplish silvery figure that arrived just moments ago. In all honesty, she had thought the chance to meet this man would never come again, but that hope was merely her own illusion, for Di Song's gaze right now could only be called cruel and dangerous. In fact, it's downright dangerous in how bloodshot red it was, a typical angry beast that's ready to pounce at its prey and rip it to shreds. And sure enough, Di Song didn't wait and reached out to rip the woman out of the flames in one forceful tug of his power. Sire, I knew you wouldn't be so heartless to me. Giving a hopeful light in her iris, Jun Ruqing was overjoyed at being freed from her burning prison. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. That's right, no matter what, I'm still the goddaughter of the First Elder. There's no way the king would be so passionless. So you are Jun Ruqing? The man's voice was low and hoarse that instantly captivated the woman. Sire, I've longed for you since the very first moment I saw you. Now that you've saved me, I can only repay the debt by bestowing myself to you. I will dash beam. From out of the blue, 2 hot rays of searing light shoots out of the man's hand and enters the fox demoness's eye, causing her to scream out in excruciating pain. But why? Trembling in the lip, her body recedes back to the old tree that had cornered her during Bai Yan's confrontation. Because of that blood seeping out of her eye sockets and the grief-filled face, that entire appearance now had nothing left of the seductive and charming image she portrayed to those around herself. Love, too. Did you think that I pulled you out of Suzaku's flame was in order to save you? Di Song just sneered and held the woman in contempt. You bullied my wife. For that, even your death is not enough. I honestly wonder where people like you get the confidence from. Compared with the pain of her whole body, what hurts more was the crushing feeling within her ruined heart. Jun Ruqing truly never expected that by falling in love with this man would send her down an irreversible path. Despite those eyes being blind already and darkness was all she could see, the signature aura of the arrogant and domineering man still drew her face towards his direction. If Di Song married any other woman of the demon realm, then I could still bring myself to accept the fact, but that's a human woman. How can I possibly accept being outdone by a mere mortal? Because she is my life. Those who wish her harm or threatens her is the same as doing it to me. So, I can only crush and remove any threat that comes my way. The bloodthirstiness fully seeping out from Di Song's voice. Because she is my wife. Ha! The fox demoness breaks out into a hysterical laughter, letting her body to shake due to the immense emotions flowing out. In truth, I never wanted the queen's position, I only wanted to be by your side. Why can't you satisfy my one simple request? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. As Di Song slowly approached her, the oppressive might has left her completely unable to lift that head. You want to know? I can tell you. In light of that handsome and peerless contour, the only vibe coming off of this demon lord was a dangerous air that told those who looked at him to run. I promised to be with her for life, only her and I. Besides her, there will be no other woman. Originally Jun Ruching have already been hurt thoroughly to her heart, but those words were truly ruthless. It's equivalent to someone ripping the heart out and then riddling it with holes before stuffing it back in again. She could barely breathe as a result of that pain. Only her in this life? How many people out there can actually keep such a promise? Yet it's the king who makes this promise. Why can't the woman be me? If Jun Ruching had to choose, she would rather be dead instead of listening to these heart-wrenching words. I have said what should be said. Standing before the woman in close contact now, Di Song's palm immediately materializes a transparent layer of white energy to rip out the woman's soul. Because of how sudden and how quick the act was, nothing had prepared the demoness from this, leaving her utterly clueless as to why she's once again being burned inside the flame. However, this time around the pain was way more intense and more penetrating. Suzaku is still too kind. Your physical body is blocking half of her powers. Without it, you will now experience pain several times that of before. Also, a month is too little for you, so I've taken the liberty to increase it. Now your soul is linked directly to the world itself. So long as the world lives, your burning soul will also continue to live. You should thank me for giving you eternal life. Love. 3. Not far away inside a secluded cave, Bai Yen was currently awaiting the cauldron to finish its last stage of refinement with her eyes closed. Success! She cries out after getting the first whiff of the pill's aroma. Hurrying to get up from her seat, Bai Yen wasted no time in pushing the lid open and letting her eyes take witness to the marvel that's inside, 3 green beads with 3 bright red lines on the body. Try reaching Soul Dan pill. With this I can immediately have a breakthrough in my cultivation. Picking up the 3 precious pills, her lips inexplicably curled into a smile at the thought of being to use it on her son as well. That's right, Bai Yen nods. What about my son and little Rice? Oh, they went out to play by themselves. I am here to guard you. Smiling right up to her obsessive eyes, the glamorous woman promptly hooked her arms around Bai Yan's to close in the distance. Why can't I ever get enough of? The more I look, the more I like. Then just as Suzaku was about to continue the conversation in a different direction, mainly about themselves, a gloomy aura from behind catches her by surprise. Going stiff, she hurried to release that arm and shuddered backwards a step. Ditsong, how come you are here? Ignoring the sour mood of her man, Bai Yen asks with a hint of surprise in that voice. I came to pick you up, of course. The man's terrifying air recedes as soon as he turns back to face his future wife. That wasn't something Bai Yen had expected. First looking at Suzaku's pitiful face, then back at Ditsong, who clearly meant what he said. I promised Suzaku that I will stay here to accompany her for half a month, not to mention that I am looking for a quiet place to have a breakthrough in my cultivation as well. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Okay, then I will accompany you here too. Evoking an evil grin, Ditsong pulls at that dainty hand to bring his greatest desire into his embrace. Yen, those that bullied and harmed have all been dealt with. I've also destroyed the snakes from back then. Now there's no one left to get in our way. Originally Ditsong had expected gratitude and approval for his actions. After all, it was all for her sake. Sadly, his own assumptions only made the woman go completely dark in the face. Am I someone who tattles and complain to others? Bai Yen thought. This snake clan should have been destroyed long ago. Suzaku indignantly snorts. Nothing but the most inferior of slaves out there. How dare they connive after the queen's position? I think you were rather late in doing it even. But that's about all she could say, for the cold hard glare from the man had shut that mouth up in an instant. Talk too much. After saying this, the man swiftly shifts his attention back to Bai Yen, those lips and eyes more and more charming, like he's deliberately putting on his best light. Yen, I will take you to a place. Bai Yen was so taken aback by that sentence that she literally became stoned. Not giving her the chance for refusal, the man's arm has already wrapped around that waist, and off they went together. "Where are you taking me?" Bai Yen frowns as they flew through the sky. "You will know later." Brushing her silky hair along the way, the man's voice was hoarse and hypnotic. Knowing it's pointless to resist now, Bai Yen simply let it go and just followed along with whatever he has planned. It's not the first time he's done something so demanding, so it's futile to resist. Love, 4. Red all over the mountain, this landscape was absolutely gorgeous in the number of bloodish flowers making up the ground. Song, why are you taking me here? Firmly held by the man, Bai Yan's hand felt warm and secure. Yen. Slightly cocking that chin to gaze at the surrounding, the man's domineering presence somehow weakens. "Our son told me already." "What?" Bai Yen became startled by the strange sentence and looked up. "The story you told Xiachen in private, he has already passed it on to me." "That little traitor." Gnashing those teeths, this poor mother never thought her most trusted baby would betray her like this. "I admit that when I first approached you it was with purpose, but then..." The man puts on the warmest and most sincere smile he could muster. "I suddenly found out how important you truly are to my heart." In the past, men would only use their arrogance and power to forcefully entangle themselves around her. Therefore, this would be the first confession she's truly ever had. "What do you want to do?" Staring straight into those eyes, Bai Yan's heart thumped incredibly hard till it's erratic and abnormal. "Give you peace in the heart." He knows that Bai Yan has never accepted him, all because her heart didn't feel secure enough. She fears the same experience and pain from that abandoned girl in the story would occur on herself. Song, Bai Yan narrows her eyes. "Do you know what you are talking about? Give me peace of mind?" Such words, does he think he could do it just by saying so? Perhaps able to perceive the inner thoughts of the woman, Song only smiled and worked to reassure that doubt. "Do you think that I would abandon you one day if I have to choose between the demon realm or you? If so, I can prove it to you. I'm giving the entire demon realm to you." Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. This way those worries are no longer a concern. Song. Bai Yan's complexion sank, her voice cold. "You are serious?" "I am always serious about you. I am always serious about you." These words continued to echo beside those ears like a ringing gong. The man's words blew apart beside Bai Yan's ear, causing her hands to clench into a tight ball of uncertainty. "But I won't accept it." Dropping this reply, she wanted to leave right away and escape from this uncomfortable conversation. However, the male from the back didn't want to let it end like this and pulled her straight back into his grasp. "Song." Bai Yan's eyes were angry, but those lips were smothered once again by the shamelessness of this male who wished to use action to prove his conviction. "Enough." In one forceful push, she attempts to remove herself. "Do you know what can make me feel secure? Fine, I will tell you today so you can stop having any illusions. I want power, strength that belongs to me. Only then can I feel safe and secure. From beginning to start, you never knew what I wanted. I understand then, you are right. However, for you, I'm willing to learn." Bai Yan's heart didn't calm down at all, only trembling harder till it's starting to hurt from fear. Closing those eyes, she now knows she has truly fallen for him and the last wall in her heart has crumbled. Unborn child 1. Song, are you sure? Anything I want, you are willing to give me? Bai Yan looks deep into the man's iris, hoping to get some sort of clue as to whether or not she could believe his words. "My life is yours." Song firmly grasped onto her hand and pressed it against his chest. "Without you in this world, my life would become meaningless." Boom. Bai Yan's head just got blown apart by this sentence. From within the depths of her memories, she's got this strange aching feeling that someone said the exact same thing before. If there is no you, what meaning is there to my life? Yen. Seeing the sudden change in complexion, Song hurries to examine the woman, his voice anxious with a trace of concern. "Are you sick?" Slowly, she opens her eyes again with a gorgeous smile that could enslave the world. "Song, I am willing, be the queen of this realm. This time." She's willing to put down that guard of hers for real and would try to accept this man from the bottom of her heart. Yen, are you trying to trick me? Or are you? The man's hand trembled, making his movements stiff and awkward. Damn bastard. Bai Yen was now angry. Picking up her toes, the woman uses her lips to dismiss any doubt by making it clear what her emotions are. And as if that wasn't enough, she decides to push him down to take the top position. Deetsong, if you don't believe it, then I can take back my words just now. Also, the kiss is what you owe me. Scoffing a laugh to cover her own embarrassment, Bai Yen was just about to climb up from the man's body when a hand stretched upwards and pulled her back down. Then using this momentum, Deetsong promptly rolled both their bodies around to let him be the one on top and her at the bottom. Oh Yen, how can I let go when you are throwing yourself at me like this? Transforming that snarky grin into a devious one, this demon lord was now ready to have a taste of the sweet nectar for real this time. Don't worry, I've already said hello to everyone around here. No one is going to come disturb us this time. Visit my site on Cultivation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Narrowing those mesmerizing eyes, Bai Yen also gets naughty in the tongue, but compared to being reactive, I rather be the party that's taking the initiative. Chuckling over that statement, then we're good then, I also like it when you are taking the initiative. 6 years ago, it was exactly this woman who took the initiative to do those blasphemous things while I was down, just that. At the thought of what they experienced and the unforgettable intimacy they shared back then, Deetsong's lips inexplicably curved into a genuine smile of hopeful anticipation. And without disappointment, Bai Yan's next course of action was to use that perverse finger of hers to direct the man's lip to her own. The sensation could only be described as electrifying. Unlike the previous exchanges where only one side took power, this time they're both willing and seeking comfort from each other's existence. Unborn child, too. This would not be the first time the pair has had sex before, otherwise how would Bai Xiachen come into existence? However, this time the conditions are different and that they're fully awake and aware of their situation. Clothes removed after that brief struggle to strip, the man desperately wants to make the female under him melt into his skin. Yen, you are not going to change your mind, right? He pauses at the next step of their union and asked with a hoarse voice of uncertainty. Regarding the man's insecurity, Bai Yen just couldn't resist and chuckled happily. To prove it to this fool, she then gives him another kiss on the lip to show her willingness. Boom. Painful. Clutching that head, Bai Yen has found herself standing on the battlefield again after closing and opening her eyes. There are corpses littering this barren landscape and the sky still stained with blood like the last, giving it an odd sense of beauty and cruelty. What the hell is this place? Why do I keep getting these visions and of the same picture? If the last was the result of making a contract with Little Rice, then what about the other times? Also, this time is while I'm still awake, this can't be right. Looking a bit flustered now, Bai Yen searched the chaotic battlefield for any familiar figures that might recognize. Then that's when she froze from where she stood. Not far away, a peerlessly handsome face of a man had come into view. Covered in blood, this individual was currently embracing a woman that's lifelessly lying in his arms. Visit my site on Cultivation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Sire, the queen has already passed away, please. The rest of the soldiers are all on their knees, sadness permeating the battlefield as a result of their depressed atmosphere. Scram! A bestial form now takes over that voice as the man eyed his people around himself. She is not dead. I will never allow anyone to say such a thing, never allow it. Sire, the queen really is gone now. If you continue to go on like this, then what about the demon realm? An old man nervously speaks out after mustering up his courage. Boom. In one sweep of that hand, a powerful force slams against the old man's chest and causes him to stumble backwards. You shut up. If I say she's not dead, then she's not dead. If you keep making false accusations of her well-being, then I will tear you to pieces. Do you hear me? Shuddering over that threat, none of the soldiers present would dare speak out again, their heads hanging so low that it's literally down to their chest. Bai Yen wasn't far away from all of this, so she just kept watching, and the more she watched, the more shocked her eyes are becoming. Why was that? Simple. There's no foggy haze blocking those faces, and she could recognize exactly who it was. That is Deed Song. And the other one is... Retracting that attention from the one who spoke earlier, the blood-covered man returns his gaze back to the pale-faced woman in his arms that's clearly without life. However, instead of the violent and ferocious air he presented to everyone else, there's only a deep level of affection in that face. You promised me before that we would always be together and that you would give me 100 little foxes. You can't leave me like this. His hand gently stroked the woman's face after saying those words, his smile full of warmth and sadness. Unborn child, 3, do you remember the first time we met? I never thought I could fall so madly in love with you on first sight. That's when I knew you had to be my one and only love of my life. But it seems I was too late in coming into your life. Your attention was always on the person next to you. In order to make an impression, I did the only thing I knew how and kept bullying you. I knew that would only cause you to resist me further. So why are you leaving me so soon after I went through such lengths to win your heart? Without you, my life has no meaning left to it. The man's footsteps were awkward and staggering by this point. Nevertheless, the grip around that cold body of the woman in his arms never once loosened, like it's the only way to keep his sanity intact. Sire. I won't say it for a third time, Scram. Another old elder impatiently speaks up despite the warning. Sire, what about the demon realm? If you leave. Demon realm? The man started to laugh hysterically till his voice echoed across the sky in this quiet battlefield. If not for the demon realm, if not for you bunch of fools, my wife would not have abandoned me. Damn you all. Damn every single one of you. But I won't kill you all. Not because I don't want to know, but because I don't want my wife's sacrifice to be in vain. However, that doesn't mean I will forgive any of you. In this lifetime, I never want to see anyone from the demon realm again. After leaving that behind, the man continued to walk towards the endless wasteland which lies ahead of this location, his mouth constantly trickling out with blood. But in the end, the injuries and pain were too much for his soul. Crashing to the cold hard ground with his knees scraped as a result, he throws up a big mouthful of blood to indicate how weak his body was. In fact, merely supporting his own weight has become an enormous effort in itself. Deed Song. Bai Yan's heart ached profusely at the painful sight. Sadly, when it came time for her to reach out with that hand in order to grab the man's arm, it merely went through like an illusion. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. It's the same as the last time again. I can't touch anyone in this space just like that vision with Little Rice. You have left me so many times already, and every time I have somehow managed to make it in time. But this time, it seems I can no longer find you again. The man's face leaked out a dreary smile as he laid the precious body to the ground. But don't worry, even if I have to exhaust all my life and energy, I will make it so that you can have another opportunity at being reincarnated. After saying that, the man then rests his hand on the lower abdomen of the woman's belly where there's an obvious bump of a small life yet to be born. I remember when you named this little fox on that day. You said you hoped the baby would be as bright as the morning sun. That's why you named him Xiaochen. Thankfully you are pregnant, giving me the chance to reshape your soul. Note, for anyone wondering, unlike Western names that's only intended to be unique, Chinese names are always meant to have a specific meaning instead, even if it sounds like the most common name around. Even if it costs me my life, I will definitely make you anew again. The following words were deaf to Bai Yan's ear at this point. She's shaking because of how unbelievable things were. Xiaochen. The unborn child, he is also called Xiaochen? Tightly pursing her lips, tears flowed out of those pained eyes with no control from the host. Special existence, 1. So it turns out Xiaochen is my child in the past too? But I failed to protect him, causing him to miss out on his chance to see the world. Yen Yen. A familiar ring beckons beside her ear, causing the scene in front of Bai Yan to fluctuate and distort until it's completely dissolved into the darkness. Slowly opening those eyes after coming back to reality, a trickle of tear now flows down the side of that cheek. Deed Song. Suddenly throwing herself into the man's arm after saying that, She tightly clutches onto the one in front like the physical contact was the only way to keep her unsettled heart from losing itself. If you don't want to, then I won't force you. Stroking her silky black hair, the man dons a comforting smile in response. In any case, you are mine sooner or later. I'm in no hurry. The pain from the vision still lingers, causing excruciating pain inside. Song, I want to see Xiachen, can we go back? Raising her face up to meet his, 2 droplets of tears teeters along the lash to make that plea all the more effective. Okay. Pulling her into a tighter embrace, he too appeared distressed at the moment. He's seen many sides of this woman in his arms, but never a weak front like right now, making it all the more disturbing for him. When Bai Yan and Song returned to the Demon Mountain, the painful screams of Jun Ruching were long gone from the air. Instead, the foxwoman's soul now curls into a fetal position inside the burning flame, her eyes the only thing showing the hatred she held for the ones responsible for the pain she's experiencing. Of course, Bai Yan's aware of the venomous gaze coming her way as they flew by in the air, but that's of no concern to her now. She couldn't afford to wait any longer and only wanted so dearly to see that familiar steam bun in her arms again. At the moment, outside the hut where the boy should be, Bai Xiachen and Little Rice was currently chasing each other around in playful glee when the boy was suddenly picked up from behind. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Likely able to sense the familiar scent, he immediately looked up to find Bai Yan's pale face that shocked him. Mother, what's wrong? Is it Batty Father bullying you again? That only warranted a tighter hug. Mother! The boy continues to blink that big blue eye in confusion. What happened to Mother? Why do I have a feeling that it's the same as when she contracted Little Rice, like I've missed something important? Son, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Rubbing her own cheek against the boy's, she sounded painfully apologetic with that whimpering. I couldn't protect you before and deprived you of a future, but I won't let that happen again. I won't let anyone hurt you again. Thank you for coming back into my life again. Mother, I can't breathe. Flushing red from having his poor lungs squished, the baby cries out in protest. Oh, I'm sorry, hurrying to loosen her own grip. I got too emotional there. Mother, can you tell me what happened? I can help carry some of your weight if you do. Flashing bright in those innocent eyes of his, Bai Xiachen attempts to act like the little man that he was. Special existence, too. It's nothing, gently rubbing her son's head. Mother just loves you too much. Although Bai Xiachen didn't know what happened still, but Bai Yan's words were more than enough to make his smile glowing. I also love Mother very, very much. Under the brushing of the breeze, Song's complexion promptly grew dark after hearing the interaction of this mother and son. In particular was when Bai Yan gave Bai Xiachen a kiss on the forehead at the end. Mother! Noting the gloomy mood oozing off of his old man then, the baby boy subconsciously squirmed closer into his mother's chest for safety. Batty Father is very scary. What are you doing in trying to scare my son? Bai Yan's scolding voice shoots over without a second of delay. Yeah, you didn't do anything all right, but who could bear taking that gaze of yours? Lady Suzuka murmurs in complaint from somewhere. If you scare him again, Bai Yan narrows in her eye dangerously, I will take my son and run away from home. Song's face just went charcoal black over that remark. How can this woman use running away from home as a way to scare me? Yet it was precisely this threat that has left him in a bind. Say you love me, then I won't scare him in the future. Bai Yan's eyes are full of smiles then. Are you being jealous of your own son? I want to hear. Song slowly approached further, letting his overbearing momentum to give weight. I want to hear you say this to me. Gently caressing her chin, Bai Yan squints those eyes like she's contemplating the idea. That will depend on your performance first. If you can really stop scaring my son, then I will say that to you. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. The man didn't answer right away. Instead, his sight now falls upon the baby boy in the woman's arms still. Alright, I promise you, but first I want to take some interest. In one pull of his hand, the woman once again falls into his grasp and allows their lips to make contact. He just couldn't get enough of this experience ever since their first kiss. While the couple were having their sweet, oh so sweet kiss, Bai Xiachen on the other hand was fuzzing up like an exploded cat that's had his tail stepped on. Batty father is biting mother in front of me again. Fortunately little Rice was a quick thinker. Jumping up in haste, the little tiger hurries to cover the kid's eye from the naughty picture that shouldn't be shared with little boys. Di-tsang. Bai Yen rapidly pushes herself away and angrily reprimands the man. Your son is still here. Isn't he afraid of teaching our son bad habits by doing such lewd things in front of our son? Pricking his brow, Di-tsang then shifts his gaze over to the boy. Don't you want a sister? Electrified by that question, Bai Xiachen immediately shook off the tiger's paw and revealed that sly smile of his. Batty father, have fun with mother, okay? Me, little Rice and sister Suzaku will go play somewhere else. Before turning away, he didn't forget to drag little Rice away as well by the tail. Bai Yen on the other hand was left flabbergasted. Widening those beautiful eyes like she didn't know her own son, the woman just stood there with the gentle wind blowing against her hair. Di-tsang, but no further words could come of that mouth. Blocked by a ill-behaving tongue, her heart jumped a beat like it's about to explode. Demon Realm. Within a dark cave, a certain individual was currently sitting crossed-legged on the ground with his back facing the entrance. As a result of the strange fog obscuring that face, it became absolutely impossible to see what the man looked like lest they go up front. Special Existence 3. Sounds of footsteps soon interrupted the silence here. What are you doing here? Walking into the cave was a woman wearing an emerald green dress. Just that in comparison with Qing Luan who tried to kidnap Bai Xiachen and his friends back at the human world, this one carried more of a frosty air around the eyebrows. My family, the entire snake clan has been destroyed. Qing Shui grew bitter and cold in that voice. It was destroyed by the king. I know, the man wryly smiles. Considering His Majesty's means, he will never let anyone from the snake clan escape. Aren't you afraid of being discovered by coming to see me? I want you to help me. The snake woman's eye grew sharp and seething. In this world, only you can help me now. The man's body went stiff like a rock, his gaze staring intently at the woman trying to tempt his desire. Qing Shui, wouldn't it be better if you let go of the past and start over? Ha! The snake demoness only sneered in return. You don't understand love at all. A person like His Majesty is unforgettable once met. Not understand? How can I not understand? The man's fist tightly clenches into a ball. If not for our bond, would I have helped you escape from death even if it meant going behind the king and everyone else? The king and queen are destined to be together. That's something the state teacher and elders agreed upon. What can you do in this case? The man smiles helplessly, still trying to persuade the other side to abandon the obsession. What fated pair? The king is a fox, and she is just a low-standing human mortal. How can she be worthy of the king? Qing Shui's eyes were bloodshot red now. I refuse to believe it, refuse to believe I would lose to someone like that. If you don't help me today, then I will die in front of you. In one draw of her sword, the snake woman holds herself hostage by pushing the blade next to her neck. In this world, only he can help me. Qing Shui. The man was both anxious and angry. Are you threatening me? I'm out of options. You are the only existence of your kind in this world. I'm afraid aside from me and the state teacher, there's no other who would know about you. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. The man's body froze right then and there, making a bittersweet smile after a good minute later. True, the state teacher created me all for the sake of taking the king's place during a critical moment. And with the king's arrogance, he would never allow someone like me to exist if he finds out. But don't forget though, my job may be to die in the king's stead, but that doesn't mean I would turn my back on the demon realm. Years ago, meeting Qing Shui was nothing more than an accident. However, it was precisely this accident that's managed to console the loneliness in his heart. But to betray the demon realm? There's no way he could do that. I just want to be this world's queen, and I'm not asking you to betray the demon realm. Despite Qing Shui's tone softening up, the sword beside her neck remains firm nevertheless. Can you help me? As long as I am the queen, I will definitely find a way to make it so you can appear before the public. I know His Majesty would do anything I say when he's such an affectionate man. By then you won't have to worry about your own existence being erased by him. For fear of the man rejecting, she continues to dangle her bait with no room for rebuttal. The Queen's coronation 1. What's more, don't you hate state teacher? If it weren't for him, you would not be so miserable. Even if you, Qin Shui. The man stood up, his eyes gazing down at the woman who's been with him for hundreds of years. Fine, I will help you, but only for this one time. Whether or not you can get the king's heart will be up to yourself. That immediately brought on a smile to the demoness, causing that firm grip to finally loosen around the neck. Thank you, I just knew you would help me. Demon Mountain. After her success in refining the tri-reaching soul Dan pill, Bai Yan's been intending to seclude herself for the impending breakthrough. Sadly for her though, Ditsong Hasa beat her to the punch by openly announcing the date of the coronation to the public, thus causing her to delay that plan until after the ceremony. Yet not all were happy, of course. Unfortunately for these brave souls, their feet couldn't even make it to the palace gate before they were shooed away by the soldiers in charge. Sister-in-law, Di Xiaowan blinks and blinks over how leisurely the woman in charge was acting despite the fact that the coronation was just around the corner. Tomorrow is your coronation as the queen, shouldn't we leave this mountain and go prepare like all the rest? Giving a stretch like a lazy cat, Bai Yan dismisses the idea. No need to hurry, it will be fine tomorrow. Oh right, where did that friend of yours go, that Huang Xiaoying? Di Xiaowan didn't reply immediately like her usual self, only showing a vigilant and alarmed look. Sister-in-law, why are you thinking about that girl all of a sudden? Am I not good enough? I'm just asking out of curiosity and boredom. The lazy woman then caresses her chin like she's thinking of something bad. To be quite honest, she didn't hold any disgust towards Huang Xiaoying at all. If not for Little Rice not liking the girl, she would be quite happy to make her a good follower of hers in fact. But sister-in-law, that Huang Xiaoying is a sweet dumbaklutz, you mustn't like her, okay? You only need to like me and that's enough. That damn brat, it wasn't even all that long ago where she got tricked by that Jun Ruching. Now she wants to stick around my nephew and sister-in-law? Dream on. I won't give anyone that chance to steal them away. Gnashing her teeth, the demon princess now has the tigress blacklisted. Auntie, Bai Shuchen timely sticks his head out from the side to speak. Are you talking about yourself? That question promptly brought on a wave of grievance in the girl's heart. Shuchen, is this how you think of me inside? I'm a sweet dumbaklutz? Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases now that's left the little steam bun in a bind. As much as he would like to not hurt his auntie there, but the good upbringing of an honest child still got the better of him, which in turn manifested as an unbearable nod. Di Xiaowan actually heard her heart shattering apart right there and then. In one full burst of grievance, she openly cries with tears flowing out, "Sister-in-law, your son is bullying me. Is that right? How come I didn't see it?" Casting a look at the little steam bun next to her, Bai Yan just smiled like it didn't happen. Sniffling her nose, brother is bullying me, and now these two are bullying me too by joining forces? No, you too, the waterfall doesn't stop. I'm going to have a baby of my own too. Then my baby can help me humph? The queen's coronation too. In the heart of this demon princess, her son could only be as clever and sensible as Bai Shuchen. Therefore, it's natural that her son would come to her defense when she's being bullied. Unfortunately, by the time her son was born, that's when she realized what the true meaning of favoring outsiders versus one's own side. Not only did she not get an extra helper, the dastardly boy had turned around to help Di Tsong's family to bully her. Auntie, Bai Shuchen gives the princess a pat on the shoulder. If you want to have a son, you must first find a husband who's willing to have one with you though. Have you seen someone making a baby by themselves? Mother, I am so hungry. The boy turns to Bai Yan for help. I want to eat red roast meat made by mother. Okay, I will make it for you. Giving her son a pinch on the cheek, she puts on a spoiled smile as she got up from the couch. Let's go. Bursting into a gleeful grin, the baby boy didn't dally. Hurrying to match his mother's speed, he tightly holds onto her hand to leave the moping princess in the background. Because of the coronation ceremony that's about to take place tomorrow, the whole palace was abuzz with noise. But compared with the jubilant air of the palace though, the females who adores Ditsong were all left heartbroken. As a result, there were in fact a shortage of young maidens attending. Their excuses were they're sick and such. Of course, this group was considered to be the smarter ones, for the other group were still clinging on to the idea of stealing the position of queen from the human mort. Inside one of the palace courtyards, a little girl of innocent demeanor struggles to move forward by clinging onto the wall. Compared to the daughters of the various families in attendance, there's not a single maid or servant to help this girl in question. Even so, this toddler-sized girl continues to walk before being blocked off by another figure. "Second sister," she politely calls out to the one in front. "Who is your second sister?" The one blocking the young toddler was a sharp-looking maiden that carried the look of shame and disgust. "If you dare call me your second sister again, I will cripple you right now." "But you are my second sister." The little girl's eyes were innocent and untainted. "I didn't make a mistake." The people around them only snickered with laughter after hearing this. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. So this is the little lady of the dragon family? I heard she can't even walk properly yet despite her age, and doesn't understand anything. Chach, this little lady is a fool, plain and simple. Moreover, her age is not much different from the second lady over there either, just that she never grows for some reason. If I have such a sister, then I will be mad too. Although the little girl could hear everything from her distance, but based on that confused look and clueless demeanor, it's obvious she didn't get the meaning. "Second sister, what am I doing wrong?" "You shut up." The lady roars out with rage. "I really don't know what father is doing. I can't believe he would let you come participate in the queen's coronation. It can't be a wench like you is also conniving after the consort position?" The queen's coronation. 3. What is a consort? Can you eat it? The little clueless girl then salivates at the mouth like she's already imagining how delicious the object was. "Second sister, I'm hungry." That immediately brought on a wave of laughter from the crowd again. This young missy of the dragon family really is a fool. Eat, always only know how to eat. Watch you die from having your tummy blow up from overstuffing it. A touch of disdain flickers out of the bigger lady's eye. "However, the likes of you could never become the king's consort. If you dare to make a grab for that post against me, then I won't let you off the hook." The position of being the queen has already been taken, but there are still other empty seats up for grab. Sire never took any other woman until now, so there's a good chance there. What man doesn't play around? A few wives here and there is common and accepted. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm going to tear you to shreds if you keep eyeing me. An existence like you will only tarnish the name of us dragons. Reaching over to pinch the little missy's arm, this older sister's actions were truly brutal. "If not for father watching over you, I would have already driven you out of the family. Now get out of my sight before I get mad." All teary and pained, the one known as the fool of the dragon family didn't dare to plead for mercy. No matter how slow she was in the head, this little missy still knew crying for help here in these situations would do no good and would only warrant further punishment. "Stop!" It was then an infuriated voice came from behind, causing the instigator of the scene to jolt back in haste like a guilty criminal. Among the group that arrived, the most striking had to be reddish figure at the forefront. The woman was dashing and enchanting in how beautiful her contours were. Truly peerless and unmatchable, that has left these people breathless. But then it didn't take long for everyone's attention to shift to the little steam bun holding the woman's hand. Adorable like a doll, the boy's no different from a treat to the eye. Now they know this had to be their future queen and prince, otherwise who else could they be? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Today is my sister-in-law's coronation day, who gave you lot permission to make trouble inside the palace. Stepping forward to inquire for the details, Di Xiaowan hurried to pull the little missy to the side for protection. "Mother, I feel so sad for this little sister. Look at her arm, it's all bruised up already." Tugging at his mother's sleeve, Bai Xiachen eyes the dragon girl with a pitiful look. Bai Yen didn't move right away, only rubbing the boy's hair to soothe his discomfort. Things simply didn't add up. For one, This little girl that's being picked upon was obviously from the dragon family. And as everyone knows, dragons are a race of great pride and power. Merely out of respect and fear, these other attendees from the other clans should have stepped in to help, not join in on the mockery and ridicule. Tell me what happened. Soft in her tone, Bai Yen turns to the small little one for an answer because those big innocent eyes could tell no lie. It's too pure and innocent, unlike the mean and cruel ones portrayed by the older sister. Second sister stopped me earlier when I was walking, and when I called out to her, she got angry and yelled at me. Did I do something wrong? She is my second sister, so I don't see the problem. All sad and confused, the little missy drops her head like someone who's made a mistake. The queen's coronation, for you. The bigger girl angrily stamps her feet in frustration over being pointed out by the younger sister. My queen, this girl is nothing more than a fool. I'm afraid her existence alone will pollute the palace. We should drive her out of here lest she tarnishes someone of your status with her own. Before coming, their father has already mentioned the part about currying the favor of said queen if she wishes to become a consort. Otherwise, the idea would be out of the question according to the information they gathered. Gazing down at the wench, Bai Yen dons a cold sneer of contempt. In my opinion, the one who's tarnishing the palace with their existence is you. Guards, toss this one out of the palace, I don't want to see her. The bigger girl just popped her eyes in disbelief. How can she toss me out? Does the queen know already about me wanting to become a consort? Queen, you can't do this. Does the king know of your actions? I am a member of the prestigious dragon family. There's no way His Majesty would agree with this. Bai Yen simply snickered her tongue in return when the lady's being dragged away. If I can't even expel a person that I deem necessary, then I might as well forget about continuing the coronation. There's a saying that there's always no fear when being pampered. That's why she knows Dizong would never blame her regardless of the trouble that arises. However, that's not something the public knew though. No longer mere astonishment over the human woman's beauty, everyone's initial disdain of a mere mortal now changes to admiration and applause. It's common knowledge that no one in the demon realm could stand up to the king, let alone go against his will or orders. It's okay now. Bai Yen turns to look at the little missy. If you are worried about going back, then you can stay with us. As it so happens, my son is missing a playmate. Blinking those untainted big eyes, the girl eventually moved her attention to the little steam bun. Little brother, you are so good-looking. Instead of being happy over that compliment, Bai Shachen only had the face of a bleak male that got his ego stepped on. I am a man, a man. You can't use that word to describe me, you know. Then what am I supposed to call you? Tilting that head in confusion, she asks. You should be boasting me as cute, he answers with a serious and earnest tone. Bai Yen just couldn't take it anymore. Twitching hard in the corner of her mouth, so good-looking is a no-no, but cute is a go? Well, that's a first. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. What is your name? Touching the little missy's head, Bai Yen asks with sweetness in her voice. My father calls me Dragoni while the other members of the clan calls me Little Young Miss. What about your mother? Oh, my mother calls me the little fool. Bai Yan's heart shook in that moment. All of a sudden, sadness grips her innards as she eyed the young little lady that's looking straight up at herself. In the future, you will stay with me and no one will bully you anymore. Bai Yen then turns to look at the demon princess nearby. Go tell your brother to inform the members of the dragon clan that Dragoni will be staying with me for the time being. Everyone was shocked and stunned. The queen dares to treat the princess as her own little follower? And the princess is actually smiling while carrying out the order? The queen's coronation, 5. Sister-in-law, I will go right away to tell him about the situation here. However, the people in the demon realm are like wolves. I'm worried about leaving you alone with them. While in her moment of struggle, Di Xiaowan inexplicably took notice of the familiar figures slowly walking over from the front. Huang Xiaoying. The tigress actually froze for a bit at being waved down by her friend. Nevertheless, the startlement quickly changed to excitement upon seeing the much sought-after individual. Little Rice. Like a butterfly, she flutters over in gentle finesse. As for the baby white tiger in question, The poor thing nearly fell out of Bai Xiaoqin's arms after being awoken by the dreadful voice. You stop right there. Huang Xiaoying. Di Xiaowan was pissed at her friend's shameless embarrassment. I didn't call you over just so you can flirt with your boyfriend there. Oh, the tigress tilts her head as she turned to her friend. Then what do you need me to do? Making a proud and arrogant face like her brother's, the demon princess puts up an image of someone in charge. I'm going to leave for a little bit. During this period, I want you to watch over my nephew and sister-in-law. If anyone dares to provoke them in any way, you are to give them a good lashing. Provoke my mistress? The tigress immediately swelled up with anger. Who dares to provoke my mistress? I will not let them off. Di Xiaowan's face was black. When did my sister-in-law become her mistress? However unwilling and displeased as she was over that claim, the princess knew the coronation was more important than to argue on the matter. If it was in the past, she would have gone all out with this Huang Xiaoying. I am leaving, Di Xiaowan said that with some reluctance in her voice. Also, don't forget sister-in-law is mine. If you try to fight me for her, then I will tell brother to reference you a man at random so that you be married off promptly. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Huang Xiaoying just gawked her mouth in surprise. This princess is using her power to bully others. How can she use her almighty brother to do that? Compared with the tigress's crying expression, Little Rice's reaction was a sparkling look of ecstasy. That's a wonderful idea. If this Huang Xiaoying gets married, then she will stop entangling herself with me. But when the baby white tiger wanted to add a few words to help push the idea, it was too late. Turning around to wave her goodbye, Di Xiaowan immediately disappeared from the spot and into the sky. The entire back garden was now in eerie silence. In addition, the view these attendees were shooting over were no longer that of envy or awe. It's fear, for she could command the infamous demon princess to do her beckoning. Little Rice. Ignoring them all, Huang Xiaoying continues to put on a shy face. Today my father and grandmother also came. Oh, but what does that have to do with me? Little Rice snorts and asked. Of course it matters. My grandmother wants to see her future grandson-in-law. That's why I came. Grandson-in-law? Poof, that finally scared the daylights out of the baby tiger, causing the poor guy to falter right out of Bai Xiaoqin's arms before jolting right back in there with sob and tears. Mistress, little master, you must save me. I don't want to marry this woman. Ooh. The Queen's Coronation. 6. In order to calm the feline down, Bai Yan gently caresses that fur up and down. Don't worry, I won't force anyone on you if you don't like them. However, if you do want to get married in the future, no one will stop you either. I will never want to marry her. Little Rice's expression looked aggrieved then. I only want to follow mistress for the rest of my life. I will never marry and have a family. Huang Xiaoying didn't look defeated by that proclamation though, rather she's all smiles and hopeful. But hubby, our mistress already said it, you will eventually want to get married too. I'm in no hurry, you will be my hubby sooner or later anyways. That instantly sends a shudder down the baby tiger's spine. Just the thought of marrying this tigress was enough to scare him. It is too intense. She's the little lass of the dragon family? Huang Xiaoying's eyes were very big after discovering Dragonis' existence. Mistress, did you kidnap her from the dragon clan? She is called Dragonis, so say hi. All smiles, Bai Yan gazes down at the little girl she's protecting. Don't worry, Dracony, no one is going to hurt you anymore. Making the cutest smile she could muster, the little girl gives a heavy nod before turning to the tigress. Beautiful sister, you can call me Dracony. What a good little Dragony, let sister give you a big kiss. In one huge sweep, Huang Xiaoying promptly leans down to give that adorable cheek a smooch. While Bai Xiaoqin would never deny a kiss from his own mother, it's a very different story from another female, especially from this tigress that has left a slobbering trail of saliva on Dracony's face. Out of a sense for survival, the little boy instinctively hides behind Bai Yan's leg to keep himself at a safe distance. It's getting late, let's go. Making puppy eyes, Huang Xiaoying cries out with both expectation and tension, can I go too? Halting her footstep, fine, but you can't scare Little Rice. Okay, thank you, mistress. As a result of her happy mood at being accepted, the tigress's entire existence was exuding joy. And do not call me mistress. Yes, queen. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. This time the Huang Xiaoying didn't insist, only puckering her lip a bit out of being denied once again. Nevertheless, her excitement and desire to continue onto this path just grew firmer than ever. Not far from the palace, there's a grand structure used by the various races to settle while they are in the capital. The building was built out of necessity because the chiefs of the clans are required to enter the palace every few months. It's almost time. I should enter the palace soon to participate in the queen's coronation. Sitting inside the dragon wing was a man called Long Tian, the current chief of the dragon clan. Note, Long is dragon in Chinese and also the guy's surname. Husband. It was then the door to the room was pushed open by a dainty hand belonging to a white-haired woman of gorgeous contour. I just heard you let the little fool enter the palace, is that true? Making a helpless sigh as his brow wrinkled up into a knot, Long Tian turns to his wife in displeasure. Dragoni is your biological daughter, why do you have to keep calling her the little fool? Do you know how hurtful that is? The queen's coronation, 7, Ho! Zhang Rui sneered as she evoked those lips into a satirical smile. It's not like she would understand me anyways when I call her that, but that's beside the point. Didn't we agree on letting Xiaoya enter the palace to become a consort? What if that little fool botches it for her sister by tagging along? That little fool only knows how to make trouble all day and night. I don't get why he must persist in letting that girl enter the palace. Damn it, did you forget the prophecy made by the family elders? Dragoni is destined to become extraordinary since her birth. She may not be soaring now, but I know she will eventually do so. Taking another sip from his teacup, Long Tian casually reminds his wife. That did not sit well with Zhang Rui at all. Shaking all over from annoyance, if it wasn't for those blasted elders, then I wouldn't have had such high hopes for that little fool to begin with. The bigger the expectation, the bigger the disappointment. How could a fool soar in their lifetime anyways? The dragon woman was left utterly stunned by her husband's word, sneering after the initial stupor, as if that could ever happen when Xiaoya is so outstanding. If my daughter could not enter His Majesty's eye, then there's no way that little fool could do it. I don't care, you go pick that girl up right now, I will not allow her to ruin Xiaoya's future. Towards that little fool, her feelings have already changed from disappointment to disgust. In fact, if not for the girl being her own biological daughter, this Zhang Rui would have choked her to death already in order to protect the reputation for their clan. Enough! Long Tian snaps, slamming the table with his hand as she stood up. Talk about being short-sighted. No matter it be Xiaoya or Dragoni, both are our daughters. If either one of them can get into His Majesty's eye, then it will undoubtedly help our clan into becoming an existence second only to the royal family. The dragon woman didn't refute her husband's claim despite having different opinions. You should go prep yourself too, I will be entering the court soon to greet the king. Long Tian's tone sounded annoyed now as he waved his wife away. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. As unwilling as she was over this treatment, Zhang Rui knew she couldn't win this fight. Biting that lip, the dragon woman was just about to leave by opening the door when a pink figure plowed into her from the outside. Xiaoya, what happened? Did that little fool cause trouble again and made you take the blame? The mother groans at that possibility. Mother! Long Xiaoya cried in a miserable fashion. The fool humiliated me in public. All I did was reprimand her a bit and she directly complained to the queen. What? You met the queen? The queen? Zhang Rui exclaims, her eyes sparking with uncertainty. When sending her daughter to the palace, she has already instructed the girl not to cross the supposed queen in any way because of Di Tsong's extreme fondness for Bai Yan. But who could have thought the meeting would happen so quickly and that it would turn out this way, much in thanks due to that little fool. Mother, the queen, she seems to know about my reason for approaching her. I bet she is likely afraid of me snatching the king's favor away. That's why she threw me out of the palace and forbade me from entering. All teary in her face, Long Xiaoya looked a little haggard after crying so much. The queen's coronation, 8. Zhang Rui's face instantly changed. How can she do that? Is the queen such a jealous person that she would drive you out just to keep the king from meeting you? Does His Majesty know about this? His Majesty wasn't present, of course. If he was, then I know he wouldn't have allowed it to happen. Lowering her eyes, the last departing words of Bai Yan continues to echo beside Long Xiaoya's ear. She didn't dare repeat those words again in front of her parents. Husband. The mother gnashes her teeth in frustration. The queen must be jealous of Xiaoya's beauty, that's why she expelled our daughter out of the palace. You must help your own daughter and not let that woman occupy the king by herself. If there is no consensus from the king, then do you think the queen would be so arrogant? By the way, where is Dragoni? Why did she not return with you? The tearful girl immediately grew fierce and angry in the eyes at the mention of that little fool. She left with the queen. Long Changtian's iris sparkled with light at the knowledge. You mean Dragoni is already by the queen's side? HMPF. Long Xiaoya grinds her molars in frustration. We've been blindsided by that little fool. She actually pretended to be sad and pitiful before the queen. Now not only did that woman have the pretext to expel me from the palace grounds, that mortal is also using the little fool to ruin me. Father, I've warned you before, now look what's happening. Enough, the father impatiently cuts off his daughter. It's getting late. You two should clean up and get ready, we need to go greet the king at the court. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases that brought on great joy to the deceitful girl. Father, does that mean I can continue to enter the palace? Long Changtian gives a faint nod of confirmation. As long as the order didn't come from the king or princess, then it's fine. The queen is just a human mortal without a firm foothold in this world. As long as you stay by my side, then no one can touch you. Pausing then to go over his words, I'm afraid becoming a consort would be difficult now. However, I will definitely find a way to send you to the king's side. Whether or not you can succeed in winning his heart will depend on your own capabilities. Don't worry, father, I will definitely have the king accept me. Long Xiaoya puts on a happy smile. The king back then never experienced the joy of being with a woman and doesn't understand anything, but now, that gate has been pried wide open, so he will definitely understand. The palace of the king has always been heavily guarded, and out of respect for their lord and master, the chiefs of the various clans must be dismounted upon entry. Therefore, Long Xiaoya was already walking by her father's side long before they arrived at the gates. But why are you people not letting me inside? I am the second miss of the Dragon Clan. Based on what authority can you lowly guards stop me from entering? The girl was furious at being blocked while her parents were easily allowed through. Miss, it's not I who is forbidding you from entering, it's the queen who banned you for life. One of the gatekeepers explained. The queen's coronation, 9. Long Xiaoya's face had gone from white to blue as more and more people gathered around to see what's the commotion all about. In the end, the girl could only turn to her father Long Changtian for help. Good sir, I'm her father and the current chief of the Dragon Clan, the Dragon Man says. I know you are the Dragon Chief. Have I not let you in already? The gatekeeper casts a glance at the man before turning back around. As for your daughter Miss Xiaoya here, I'm afraid the order stays since it came directly from the queen herself. Darkening a notch in his expression, the Dragon Chief's voice grew stern and heavy. I know the fourth elder of the Demon Council, he's a member of my clan. What? The Dragon Chief asks with a wrinkled brow. Dragon Chief, your information network seems to be lacking. Although your Dragon Clan is far away from the capital and wasn't present when it happened, nevertheless, it's strange no one bothered to inform of you of the incident. Looking up and down like he's watching a fool now, the gatekeeper didn't bother to hide the fact he's enjoying the situation. Sire have made it clear that the Queen's command stands above all else, and that even His Majesty must be taken in second. Do you still want me to violate the Queen's order now? Seriously, this chief from the Dragon family is trying to ruin me. As if I would be so stupid to really listen to him or anyone else for that matter at this point. Impossible, this. Under strain of this heavy news, Zhang Rui's eyes instantly went mad. But just as she's about to lash out to badmouth Bai Yan in front of the public, her father moved first and promptly covered up that mouth with his hand. I really didn't know about any of these things. Long Changtian's complexion was ghastly. He only knew the king was extremely fond of the queen, but not to such an extent of spoiling the woman. Now that you know, are you going to have your daughter here leave or what? If the queen discovers this. The gatekeeper smiles threateningly, indicating to his sheathed weapon on what would happen if so. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Xiaoya, go back. The father snaps, the voice stern and serious. Father. The girl pops her eyes with disbelief. This is my only chance. If I miss it, then the one standing beside the king will be the other women out there. Go back immediately, this is an order. Long Changtian's face turned dark and won't know for an answer. First giving a final stare up at the imposing structure of the palace, then back at the ground, Long Xiaoya knew she couldn't win this. Gritting her teeth, the girl turns away towards the other direction. What is so great about the queen? She's only the first woman of the king. In the future there will be countless more coming. I like to see her keep up that arrogant attitude by then. Husband. Zhang Rui was filled with resentment as she watched her own daughter leave from their spot. That woman is too. Shut up. The husband snaps at his wife as well. This is the palace, not our home. Do you not know the saying of calamity comes from the mouth? If you really get into trouble, you can forget about me helping you. The dragon mother immediately shuts her mouth as instructed. In light of that scared and whitish appearance, the only thought running through the woman's heart was curses and foul words at Bai Yan. Compared with the noisy commotion outside, the White Moon Palace was relatively quiet. If there's anything of notable disturbance though, it had to be the infamous Huang Xiaoying. The tigress was staring at little Rice with infatuated eyes and refuses to budge until multiple gasps caught her attention. It was Bai Yan. Adorned with a peerless red dress of immaculate creation, this bride looked absolutely incredible with the thin layer of makeup powder on her already amazing contour. The queen's coronation, 10. It's over. The tigress hurriedly grabs onto her own chest as the wildly thumping heart goes wild inside. Mistress, I thought you were beautiful enough as it is, to think you could one-up yourself like that. Forget about the king, I think I'm falling in love with you as well. Huang Xiaoying. Di Xiaowan literally jumped with steam after hearing what the shameless tigress said there. I had you protect my sister-in-law, not hook up with her. If you ever say something like that again, then watch me tell my brother. After giving a hard stare at her competition, the demon princess then burst into amazement after turning to Bai Yan. Huh, aren't the feathers on your wedding dress from Suzaku? Can't be. Did my brother pluck her naked to make you this gown? In the mind of this bratty princess, the picture of a but-naked vermilion bird lingers and causes her eyes to show a glint of sympathy. Mother is so beautiful. Bai Shachen then throws himself into Bai Yan's arm, making a cute face with bright enamored eyes. Now I don't want to let such a beautiful mother marry batty father anymore. Bai Yan simply chuckles at her son's remark, pinching that cheek to show her love. You are so young still, how can you distinguish between beauty and ugliness? In my heart, mother will always be the #1 beauty in this world, no matter the occasion. To show his affection even further, the kid uses those 2 tiny arms of his to wrap around Bai Yan's thigh like a clingy boy that doesn't want to let go. And sure enough, the act only brought on a sweet sugary feeling into the bride's heart. Bending down, she gives the boy a lovely peck on the cheek. My Shachen is the cutest and most well-behaved boy in the world as well. Taking this all in from the side, Dragoni was oh so jealous right now as she bit her thumb. Come here, little Dragoni. Waving the missy over, Bai Yan smiles warmly after seeing the envy in those eyes. Running over fast, the girl's pupil carried no blemish like a pure and clean pool of water. Queen, you are really beautiful, more beautiful than anyone I have ever seen. You are so sweet, Dragoni. Picking her up, Bai Yan also sends a peck onto the dragon girl's cheek. I have always been very good, never causing trouble. Queen, will you always like me like you do now? I'm sad that the elders and my parents just suddenly didn't like me anymore. Puckering those lips like someone facing grievance, her eyes are obviously being covered up in a layer of tears. She may not be the brightest bird around, even so, that doesn't mean her heart couldn't feel the attitude coming out of those people. Visit my site on Cultivation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. As long as you behave like you do now, then I will always like you. Bai Yan literally felt her heart clenching up in pain over that question. Really? Lighting up in her face, Dragoni looked absolutely adorable in that appearance. Queen, you treat the best. I promise I will be very, very good and not cause trouble for you. Sister-in-law, moping in her demeanor, Di Xiaowan was all sour inside. You never been that good to me though. Raising a brow, Bai Yan makes a teasing smile at that. Then you don't have to hide behind me when Di Tsong comes to make trouble for you? Upon hearing this, Di Xiaowan immediately shuddered in horror before she realizes her own folly. Making the most flattering smile she could muster, Sister-in-law, you are the best person in the world. Whoever dares to say you are not good, then I'm going to knock them off their socks. The Queen's Coronation, 11. Huang Xiaoying just hated the bootlicking image of her friend there. Making a disdainful grin. Princess, when did you become so hypocritical and without backbone? Unfazed, Di Xiaowan casually shifts her gaze over to fire back a retort. Ho, if you don't want to marry Little Rice, then continue having your backbone. These words were perfectly on target in poking at the tigress's weak spot. Jumping up like a frantic feline. Princess, who is accusing you of not being good enough to Her Highness? Tell me now, I will go kill them this instant. Chastity? Dignity? Backbone? All of it can go to hell. What can be compared to marrying Little Rice? A humph. Queen, it's almost the time of the coronation. We should be setting off now. The female speaks in a respectful manner. Okay, Bai Yan slightly nods in return. It's been hard on you, fourth elder. Instead of getting a gratified smile in return, the female that's known as the fourth elder only showed fright and horror. Nearly taking to her knees at that moment, please Queen, don't say those words to me. You are the queen of the demon realm. Everything I've done so far is within my obligation and duty. Oh gracious horror, if His Majesty hears of this and mistaken it as me not doing a proper job. Then lead the way. Bai Yan helplessly smiles and didn't want to argue on this point. Yes, Queen. That finally brought on a sigh of relief to the elder. Wiping the cold sweat from her forehead, she gestures to the door. Sister-in-law, I will support you. Hurrying to chase over like a dog, Di Xiaowan was all smiles then. You nearly scared fourth elder to death there, you know? Bai Yan shrugged. I don't remember saying anything noteworthy or bad. Visit my site on Cultivation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. That's because my brother is too powerful, causing everyone in the demon realm to fear and respect him. As his wife, you being too gracious might be interpreted as fourth elder not being polite and impatient. It's none of my business on what others think, but your brother. Chuckling at the mention of her husband to be, I know he will definitely not overthink this. As if I would tolerate anyone that's not polite to me. He knows well enough by now that the only outcome would be me tossing the rude ones out of here. The coronation ceremony of the Queen was most definitely a solemn and respected event. As such, it's been decided that the hosting location would be the open-air altar that's usually reserved for great festivities. For this reason, the venue had long been crowded with guests representing the various races. If not for the heavy number of guards stationed around, a riot might have already exploded due to how densely packed the area was. Thankfully, the restlessness didn't last long after this. From above, a rainbow bridge suddenly emerged from the back and front, leaving everyone's eye ingrained with the fabulous picture. Oh wow, to think the Rainbow Bird clan would be mobilized for this coronation. Are they intending to use all of them to act as a bridge? Che, I guess that is the case. That bird family has never been all that strong, yet they're the most arrogant pricks of them all. If not for His Majesty's will, I doubt such a clan would willingly act as someone's stepping floor. I know, right? There's been many rumors lately about the king being extremely fond of the queen, but I didn't think it was to this extent. Now that I'm seeing it firsthand with my own eyes, it seems those rumors aren't rumors at all. Murmurs and gasps were rampant among the guests. They were all blown away by the grand display of this ceremony and grew extremely curious on who could possibly cause such fascination in their king. Want to marry the queen? 1. Two figures soon came into view of everyone's eye, their image too surreal that it's breathtaking for the audience. One was a boy and the other a woman. The female had a lavish-looking tiara on the head, matched that with the light coat of powder on her face. It's almost guaranteed to make one lose their breath. And then there's the cute little thing holding the female's hand as well. Instead of looking around at his surroundings like most child of his age would, the kid only had his sight focused on the other end of the bridge like an alarmed puppy trying to protect his possession. One step at a time, the man slowly approaches and eventually brings his bride back to attention from being wowed by his appearance. Yen Yen, from now on you are my wife, my only wife. This will never change. Bai Yan's heart actually shook over that statement. Staring at the peerless man in front of herself, a genuine smile of acceptance escapes her. Fine. However, you are not allowed to betray me in the future, nor are you allowed to hide anything from me. If you must leave me for any duration, then you must tell me ahead of time. Only then will I promise to be your wife. I promise. Raising his hand, Deed Song brings the woman into his fold, allowing their attires to meld together as one and leaving the audience aghast over their perfectness. So this is the queen. She really is as beautiful as they claim. What a perfect match for the king. I know, right? At first I wasn't convinced, but now that I've seen it with my own eyes, I can only give up. The females of the various clans had similar opinions now that they've seen the competition. They aren't going to put up a hopeless fight when the other side was of such high caliber. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Congratulations to the king in marrying the queen. The people underneath all took to their knees, the voice respectful and of one. Rise. The demon lord's voice could only be called lukewarm at best despite this being his wedding day. Thank you, your majesty. Permission given. All of the attendees then rose again with one certain old fella that apparently had more galls than everyone else. I must send my granddaughter to the king's side as his consort. Sire, I have something too, but before his sentence could be finished, the arrogant words of Di Tsong cuts in again. Before anything else, I want to announce one thing. Casting his domineering gaze down to his subjects, the overpowering voice of this man rings forth like a spell. When pursuing your queen here, I promised her one thing, and that is one love for one life. So, after this coronation, there will only be one mistress of her home, and that is she. There will be no second. If I find out that someone is trying to send their daughters into my home, then I will have that person come in straight and go back out flat. Boom. The whole crowd literally exploded with discussion right there and then. For those who had secret motives inside, those ideas were naturally squashed right on the spot. King actually abolished the harem? They could do nothing but to look up with disbelief in their eyes at the couple. Didn't he bloom? How can this be? Any man who becomes acquainted with the matters of man and woman always look for more to serve them. This doesn't match the script. Furthermore, when have humankind been able to endure the energetic bodies of us demons? They always break after a few runs at night. The queen should be no different. Want to marry the queen, too. In addition, Deed Song issues a sinister chuckle. In order to prevent you bunch from causing any troublesome pain for my wife, those that does the proposal will also face the same crime and be punished by death. The old man who was trying to make the request subconsciously stepped back a few steps after hearing the words from his king. He wanted to hide that head until his existence disappeared altogether. That brings the end to my announcement, said Deed Song, who coldly swept his gaze over to the old man then. What did you want to say earlier? Don't joke around. The king has already spoken. Whoever raises the matter is equally dead, so why would I still want to send my granddaughter into the palace? If nothing else, all of you can retire after giving your greeting to your queen and prince. As for the gifts, smiling menacingly despite not even trying, I will have my men go collect it from your stations. There's no need to continue bothering my wife. Wiping some of those cold sweat away, the old man takes a quick bow in a deflated manner. I, chieftain of the Wolf clan, pays my greeting to the queen and crown prince. Using this as the signal, the rest of the other clans also bowed in unison in worship of Bai Yan and Bai Xiachen. Their expressions were all very serious and sincere, the only exception being Huang Xiaoying, who was acting a tad out of line by rubbing her shoulder against the old grandma beside herself. "Grandma, do you see over there? Right there is your future grandson-in-law in the prince's arm." Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases without disappointment. The old lady's eyes promptly lit up after seeing the white tiger snoozing in by Xiaoqin's arms. Talk about smiling straight from the heart. Very good, as expected of my future grandson-in-law. Look at that nose, those eyes, talk about handsome. My granddaughter has good eyesights in picking such an outstanding tiger. Now that instantly brought on a black face for the tiger chief in question. He's been listening on everything. How can this little guy be handsome when he can't even take on his human form? Really, what is mother seeing? Grandma, I also think I have very good eyesights. She smiles all proudly before her family. He will become your true grandson-in-law in no time at all, that I promise. That's good then. I'm loving this little guy just by looking at him, unlike your ugly old pops who only knows how to annoy me at every possible opportunity. Oh right, don't tell your father about this, keep this between us both only. Don't worry, Grandma, I will certainly not tell father. He's not only stingy and short-sighted, he's also easy to get angry. Despite being only a few feet away from his family, the tiger chief obviously didn't hold much existence between these two scams of a mother and daughter of his. How can you two talk bad about me right in front of my face? Furthermore, can you two at least acknowledge my existence? Oh, my heart, it hurts. Compared with the emotional excitement of everyone attending today, Long Changtian's heart was obviously not feeling very good right now. His dragon family had always been a supreme existence within the demon realm, meaning he has no fear of the other inferior races. So, the fact that the female standing beside the king wasn't his daughter definitely brought on some discontent within the dragon man's heart. But that quickly changed when his eyes fell upon Dragonis' existence. The little missy was following in Bai Yan's tail. Oh right, I still have one thing to announce. Bai Yan pushes her disgruntled husband aside and pulled her new friend to the front. Is the chief of the dragon clan present? Though startled at first over the summoning, Long Changtian nevertheless hurried to step forward. Is there anything my queen needs of me? Want to marry the queen? 3. I don't know if the people in the palace have notified you yet, but I will say it again. After this, I will be taking Dragoni with me. If the members of the dragon clan wishes to see her again, I will have my people escort her back for a visit. Turning her lips into a sneering grin of contempt, Bai Yan gazes down at the dragon chief with clear disdain in those eyes. Just that if I find another scar on Dragoni's body after the visits, I will have the soldiers rain down at your doorsteps as a consequence. Long Changtian honestly didn't expect such an open threat. Popping those eyes in shock, the man looks up with incredulous disbelief. I don't agree. Zhang Ruki abruptly jerks up from the ground in protest. Dragoni is my daughter, I don't want her to leave me. I can never allow this little fool the chance to surpass Xiaoya. The dragon chief roars out at his wife in fright. Get down on your knees this instant. Giving a damp look at this so-called mother, Bai Yan then shifts her attention back to the little missy instead. Dragoni, tell me, how does your mother usually treat you? Making an innocent look like that of someone oblivious to the situation, the young girl did as told. My mother dislikes it when I call her mother, that's why I can only call her madam at home. They would also often yell and hit me, calling me little fool. One time I stole second sister's pastry to eat because I really wanted to have a taste. That's when she used hot water to burn me. Whenever Dragoni brought up all the cases from her past, the voices of the guests would diminish by another level until only the crisp sound of the young lady could be heard. Of course, Zhang Rui would be livid at having her misdeeds pointed out in open public, hence the blue and white color on that face. How dare she embarrass me in the public? Did she forget who gave birth to her? As for the rest of the audience, many were now showing disdain, with a much larger portion making angry glares at the dragon chief and his wife. They knew Dragoni was a mentally challenged girl inside, but that doesn't excuse the poor treatment these parents are giving her. No one likes to hear such sad stories, especially during auspicious events like the Queen's coronation. Dragon Chief, finally someone couldn't hold back and spoke up. Is this lady really your daughter's mother, or is she a new wife you took in? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. I say, this is the first time I've seen a mother treat their own flesh and blood like so. This really opens up my eyes today. The ridiculing voices of his peers had left the dragon chief utterly embarrassed with nowhere to hide his face. Rui, if you keep making trouble here then I will divorce you once we go back. Long Chang Tian fires off a stare of death at his wife. Though unwilling, the dragon wife was now left in a pinch and knew better than to resist. For that reason, Bai Yan saw it as an opening to continue. Tell me, would you like to go with them, Dragoni? No. I don't want to. The young Missy heavily grasped onto her savior's arm, refusing to let go. Queen, I like you, please let me stay with you and not them. Who said Dragoni was stupid? She understands enough to know who's the best for herself. As for the dragon clan that gave birth to her, there's only torture awaiting there if she returns. Okay, smiling gently, Bai Yan slowly caresses the girl's hair to soothe that anxiety. You don't need to go anywhere. From now on you can stay with me and Xiachen. Wants to marry the queen for, giving a stern look at the little Missy, Bai Xiachen's grumpy appearance eventually subsides to that of forgiveness. Fine, I won't cause her trouble for trying to take some of mother's attention since I feel so sorry for her. Lastly, I have some final words for you all. All smiles still, Bai Yan lets go of Dragoni's hand to confront the gazes from everyone down below. In the demon realm, there will be no distinctions between the high and low. I don't care whether you are the dragons or other races, those who touch the ones under my protection can expect my fury to rain down from above. Long Chang Tian remains silent during all of this with only his eyes making a strange light as Dragoni's image reflected in those pupils. Furthermore, Dragoni is only a late bloomer, she is not stupid. No one can insult her as a fool. If I catch wind of this again then you know your ending. Not everyone may be able to perceive the late bloomer phrase, however, they most definitely understood the threat in the latter part of Bai Yan's sentence. Being enemies with her is the same as being the enemy of the king. As if we are that stupid to shorten our own lifespan. Grinning right up to his nose now, Ditsong was enjoying every aspect of his wife's dominance to the point where he couldn't resist making a grab for her body. Sweeping his fingers across that fine silky hair, the man's demeanor could only be called spoiled. Do you all understand that? My wife's word is the same as mine. Likely the result of the Demon King's appearance, none were able to protest the idea. In fact, their heads were now lowered than ever before like they are confronting two Demon Kings instead of a queen. Yen, we are wasting too much time here, it's our wedding night. Bai Yan's heart trembled over that last bit. Since that day in the Field of Flowers, she had more than once tried to go through a union with Ditsong. Sadly, whenever they did so, the same scenes from the battlefield would emerge again, causing the happy occasion to cut off repeatedly. Don't worry, I only want to hold you during our sleep. Moving his fingers away from the hair and onto that chin, Ditsong's touch brought a fuzzy tingle to the woman in his possession. If you don't want to yet then I won't force you. Ditsong, I remember you've always wanted to force your way with me to get revenge for that day, did you not? Smirking mischievously, the woman's eyes reflected a light like that of a predator wanting seconds. Going black in the face, the man knew he just got one-upped by his wife. I did want to take revenge, just that I didn't expect to have my heart smitten by your existence. As if revenge for that day could compare with my desire for you. Suddenly, a soft peck from a lovely set of lips had landed on the man's own, causing him to grin stupidly while the female smiles with satisfaction. He is always so overbearing at times, but he can be so sweet during moments like these. I just hope he won't let me down. Taking the interaction between this perfect couple, Dragoni grew jealous with that yearning face. I also want to give Queen a kiss. That instantly brought on a wave of darkness to Bai Xiachen's face. That's my mother, my mother. I'm already turning a blind eye to you trying to take some of her attention away from me, now you want to kiss her? I won't allow it. Smooch. Then before the little rascal could protest any further, a pair of soft tender lips had come flying over at his own. And of course, the flushed appearance the baby boy made next was that of anger and not shyness. This little girl actually dared to kiss me? But the most annoying part for the kid was what came afterwards. I saw Queen kiss your cheeks earlier, that makes my kiss equivalent to giving Queen a kiss through you. Bursting forth the most brilliant smile she could muster, Dragoni's appearance clearly told the story of she not understanding the fault in her behavior. Want to marry the Queen, 5. PFF. Bai Yen finally couldn't hold back her laughter now that she's been privy to this hilarious exchange between her son and the little missy. Shaking slightly from the funny mood, it's good to let Xiachen have a playmate, this way he will have someone to accompany him. I'm liking this little girl more and more. Mother! Turning around with grievance in his eyes, Bai Xiachen openly pleads for help. Can you not let this little girl get close to me? She is scary. No! Di Song harshly cuts down the idea. I have something to do with your mother, so you are in charge of taking care of her. Bai Xiachen's small little face instantly went rock hard in terms of stiffness. He wanted to refuse right away. Unfortunately, Di Song's action was faster. In a blink of an eye, the two dashing figures were gone and out of the crowd's sight. Mother, you really don't love me anymore after Mary Batty father. Biting the corner of his sleeve in discontent, the boy tears up like an abandoned puppy. Mother would never leave me behind back then, but now she's done it many times already. Poor little Xiachen. Di Xiaowan wipes the droplet of tear from her eyes like a saddened auntie. You need to understand that no one can stop your father from taking someone away if he forces it. That applies to your mother as well. Tilting his cute little head, the baby boy now got it. In that case, all of this is Batty father's fault? Yes, it is his fault, the demon princess nods in earnest. He is strong, that's why your mother could only go with him. That's right. Batty father must be jealous of me being lovely and cute, that's why he would always deliberately toss me aside. The more this kid's mind went down this path, the more right he felt that to be the case. Making an indignant face, Humph, I won't help him in the future again anymore, regardless of whatever good words he says to me. I like to see him leave me behind then. A humph. The state teacher had only just arrived from behind Di Xiaowan's back when he heard this exchange. Is it all right for you to frame your brother like this? The man makes a helpless smile from behind. As for Di Xiaowan, she naturally knew what the state teacher thought. Nevertheless, that doesn't stop her from sticking that naughty tongue out to gloat. Who asked brother to bully me? Now that I've helped him get sister-in-law home, it's time I get some payback. What are you coming here for? Seeing the dragon chief coming over after venting his steam, Bai Xiachen promptly spread his arms out to block off the person. My mother said it already, Dragoni is not going back with you. Showing an awkward face, Long Chang Tian meekly answers, I only want to have a private conversation with my daughter, I didn't intend to take her away. I don't believe it, the boy purses his lip, not believing an ounce of that as he cast a signaling stare at the woman further in the back. This woman bullied little Dragoni so often, I'm not going to believe you and throw her back into the fire. Wrinkling his brow at the realization, Long Chang Tian immediately turned around using his harsh glare. Rui, you stay here and don't follow me. After dropping this order to his wife, the dragon chief then turns back to the little prince using the most respectful tone he could make. Your Highness, I really only wanted to have a private conversation with my daughter. If you are worried I can leave this evil woman here, is that good? The baby boy didn't answer, only giving a momentary silence in return as he accessed the situation. According to his view, there's no malice or evil coming off of this Long Chang Tian, so. Xiachen, hold on. Stepping in now, Di Xiaowan figured it's best she took over. What can't you say in front of us that you must speak in private? This, hesitating for the longest time, Long Chang Tian sounded troubled. My daughter's behavior earlier was a bit too over the top, that's why I wanted to correct her while away from His Highness's presence. Want to marry the Queen? 6. As dubious as she was over that statement, Di Xiaowan could find no fault in Long Chang Tian's answer. As such, she could only give a nod. Then go, I will give you half an hour and no later. When she returns, I want to see the girl in pristine condition. Auntie, Bai Xiachen's cheek puffs up, my father and mother had me watch over this girl if she's bullied. As if he would dare, the demon princess openly sneers, If he does dare to bully Dragoni, then he better be prepared for the soldiers to rain down from above his head. This Long Chang Tian isn't that stupid. Even if he does, it won't be happening inside the palace. Dragoni, you go ahead. Patting the little missy's shoulder, Di Xiaowan indicates it's safe to move forward. Make sure to come back soon. Okay. Curving into a squint in those eyes, Dragoni's face was all cheers as she greeted her old man, Father. Come, my daughter. Pressing down the touch of darkness in his eyes, Long Chang Tian smiles warmly as he led the clueless girl to the back end of the open-air altar. But once out of sight and alone, the fatherly aura that this dragon chief portrayed was all-inclusively gone. All that remains now in this person was a stern look of someone ready to give an order. Papa? Asked Dragoni, who was still unclear on the danger she's in. Do you have something to say to me? Dragoni, listen. Long Chang Tian presses down on those small shoulders, his tone severe and serious. Your sister has failed. From now on, the pride and image of our clan lies in your hands. Staring up in surprise, Papa, I don't understand what you mean. I'll get straight to the point. I want you to marry the king. You can now get close to the queen. That means only you can become a maid of the White Moon Palace. But the girl's little face devolved into a look of unwilling grievance. I don't like the king, I like the queen. Can I marry Her Highness the Queen instead? Long Chang Tian was actually at a loss for words there. He forgot this daughter of his wasn't normal and could hardly make out the meaning of marriage. But time's of the essence, he doesn't have room to explain slowly. You must become the king's woman, just like the queen of today. This is the order I'm giving you. Can you understand? I don't. Dragoni shuddered at the commanding tone and took a step back, her eyes filled with tears. I don't want to be around the king, I only like the queen. If you don't want to marry the king, then the little prince can do too, didn't you just? Growing anxious now, Long Chang Tian's expression was quickly turning ugly. When did this girl become so disobedient? But Papa, I only like the queen, I just want to marry her, I don't want anyone else. Fully crying, Dragoni's whole body was now a shivering mess. Today's Papa is so scary. Why must he make me marry the king or prince? I don't want to. Dragoni. The dragon chief grew infuriated and violently grasped onto the girl's shoulder, thus causing enough pain to make his daughter wail out in grief. I'm sorry, Dragoni, it was my fault, I got too anxious. Hurry and let me see your shoulder. He raised his hand and wanted to check, but before he could do so, the sobbing girl actually retaliated by pushing him away in one forceful swing. Where did this one get such strength from? Shock and disbelief filled the man's eye as he took in what just occurred. You are a bad guy, I hate you the most, don't touch me, I am going to find the queen. Dragoni face now displays open anger as the 2 lines of tears covered up that delicate face. Wants to marry the queen, 7. Before, she would never cry regardless of what her sister Long Xiaoya did to her. However, this time Dragoni could no longer hold back at being hollered by her own father. Dragoni, don't go. Long Chang Tian hurried to climb back up from the ground in order to stop the girl from leaving. Don't go. If you do, then I will lose my life. You stay away. Once again pushing the man to the ground, the little missy's complexion was a flush beet red. I'm not going to leave the queen to follow the king. You are a big baddie. I'm not going to trust you anymore. Oomph. Coughing over that sudden force to his stomach, Long Chang Tian's face was a ghastly white. He knows full well if this ends up in the queen's ear, then he be doomed. Dragoni, I am your father. You can't let the queen know about this. If you do, then I will be killed for sure. How can you bear to see your own father die because of you? The dragon chief was no panicking. He honestly didn't know this daughter of his could be so ruthless. What's more, when did she learn to make a complaint? You think I'm stupid, you all think I'm stupid. Yes, I am not very bright, but you always knew second sister didn't like me and would often bully me. And what did you do? You would have me not appear in front of her because of that reason. Devolving into a pitiful whimper, tears began to flow out of the girl's eye sockets like a waterfall. But I still used to like you before, all because you never scolded me like mother did and call me little fool. The queen is very good to me. She tells me stories and feeds me jelly beans. She said that the jelly beans will make me smart. You see, I can walk on my own now. Long Changtian was stunned. Taking a moment to take this statement in, he finally discovered that Dragoni no longer needed someone to help support her for walking. My daughter is finally starting to grow up? No wonder, now it makes sense on why she would say such words to me. If it was in the past, this daughter would only obey. Dragoni! Seeing his daughters about to leave again for real, Long Changtian wanted to stop this before it's too late. Unfortunately for him though, the commotion had caught the attention of those outside, and that's when the palace guards came rushing over. Naturally, the one leading the fray would be Di Xiao, one who came running over with by Xiachen in tow. Princess! Deathly pale, the dragon chief felt his throat go dry like words were ripped from his lung. While the man in the background feared for his life, Dragoni on the other hand was even more emotional. Jumping right into the demon princess's arm, the little missy breaks out into a slobbering wail of someone trying to release all of the years of pent-up grievance. This bastard actually ignored sister-in-law's order and bullied little Dragoni. I knew I shouldn't have believed him. In front of this tearful image, Di Xiaowan wanted to explode from anger. Dragoni, come, tell me how he bullied you. Making a guilty face, the princess attempts to soothe some of the girl's mood by asking for the details. He wanted to force me to leave the queen. Speaking with a sobbing voice, the girl's pitiful appearance would pain any sensible person. Princess, I like the queen very much. Please don't make me leave her. Huffing and puffing at this, Di Xiaowan glares fire at the man in question. You bunch in the dragon clan got some nerve. Do you think just because you are the chief of the dragons that you can get away with this? Or do you think without you, your clan is finished? Going from green to white, Long Changtian fires off a resentful glare at his own daughter, oblivious to the fact that this came only because of his own folly. She actually really complained to the princess? And, making a wronged face, he wants me to marry the king, but I only like the queen. If I must marry, it would only be with the queen. Di Tsong's departure, 1. The little girl's voice may be cuddly and cute, filled with the tone of a child, but that statement was more damning than anything else anyone has the nerve to say. In fact, it was to the point where the people were involuntarily shaking due to the momentary fright. Marry the queen? Taking in a deep breath, Di Xiaowan calmly yet sternly holds onto the little missy's shoulder and spoke. You must never say such a thing again, especially in front of my brother the king. Do you understand? Why? Dragoni blinks her eyes in confusion. My brother will throw you out. By then you will never be able to see my sister-in-law again. That sour jar will get jealous regardless of it being a man or a woman. If he hears Dragoni's intent of wanting to marry sister-in-law, then he will most definitely throw her out. As soon as she heard that Di Tsong would have her leave by Yan's side, the little missy's body promptly shook into a new one. Princess, I understand. It's good that you understand. Smiling brightly, the demon princess then turns her attention back to the one that's at fault. My brother and sister-in-law's word is deaf to your ears, right? Princess, you mustn't listen to this girl's nonsense. Long Changtian hurried to get back up for the third time, his gaze sharp as he stared at Dragoni's face. This girl is full of lies. You mustn't believe her. That claim promptly causes the girl in question to rear back a few steps. In Dragoni's eye right now, the father whom she thought was the kindest of her so-called family was in fact scarier than anyone else. Auntie, wrinkling his brow, by Xiachen tugs at the princess's sleeve to get her attention. Mother tasked me with protecting Dragoni, let me handle this? Startled at first over the request, Di Xiaowan eventually relents with a nod after seeing that innocent and kind face. All right. To be clear, in light of the baby boy's brilliant smile that could warm a soul, it's in fact the most dangerous one by Xiachen could make. Naturally, this fact remains only known to those closest to him, so the dragon chief didn't have a clue on what's about to befall himself. Little prince, what I said is all true. This girl is resenting me for giving Xiaoya more love, that's why she's trying to frame me. Earlier I even scolded her to keep her filthy eyes off of the king and forget the idea. I did not. Raising her stubborn face, the tearful girl cries out in protest, I did not lie, I really didn't lie. Although Di Xiaowan didn't know what her nephew intends to do next to punish the deceitful dragon, nevertheless, she knew enough that it's more than what she herself could dish out, hence the only comfort she gave to the little missy was a little rub of the hand. "Auntie, I'm still new to the demon realms, so mind telling me the rules? If someone attempts to deceive the royal family, what's the punishment for such a crime?" Soft and cute, Bai Xiaoqin's voice was crisp and pristine as it drifted into everyone's ear. "It's a capital offense." The princess replies. "Since it's a capital offense of death," smiling lovingly still, "Dragon Chief, now that you are aware of this, are you still going to say those words were from your daughter? Are you intending to kill her by doing so?" Long Chang Tian hesitated for a long time in his response. The reason why he didn't pick on this mentally challenged daughter of his over the years wasn't because he's aching for Dragoni, rather he's still with hope. Well, it's more of fear if truth be told. He feared that if the girl does somehow soar into the sky one day, he would lose control. But by being good to Dragoni, he could then use their family bond to tie the girl down to be of use to the clan. Unfortunately, if he doesn't pin the blame onto the girl today, then the one to die would be himself. Even if the little dragon does reach new heights in the future, it means nothing when he himself was dead. I'm only saying the truth in not wanting the queen to be swindled by this little liar. Allowing the glint of cruelness to show in his iris then, the man arches his fist in submission. "Crown Prince, it's my fault for not disciplining the girl properly. Whatever you wish to do with her is of your call. I will not interfere or say a word in her defense anymore." Di Tsong's departure. 2. Since you are not benevolent, then don't blame me for being unjust. This is all because you spilled our conversation out to everyone. Now it's on you to take responsibility. Even if the royal family wants your life, you deserve it. Dragoni's body literally froze on the spot as a layer of sadness covered up that hanging head. She may have only just opened up her mind thanks to Bai Yan's jelly beans. Even so, she's smart enough now to know when her father wants her life. "Little Dragoni," Bai Xiaoqin smiled brightly as he turned back to the girl. "Are you seeing this? He's already treating you like so. You wouldn't have an opinion when I punish him later, right?" That question instantly shattered the cruel smirk from the Dragon Chief's face. Now, only startlement remains as he stared wide-eyed at the little prince. What does he mean by that? "He is not my father." The little missy cocks her head up, tears removed from that collected face. "He is not my father." "Auntie," grinning in his smile, "it was you who agreed to hand over Dragoni to him. Now I will let you dispose of him personally." The demon princess didn't object, only puckering her lips to the side. This little rascal, he only said all those things to let Dragoni see the man's true face. "If you don't handle it well," Bai Xiaoqin's voice grew chilly and unnerving, "if my mother finds out, she will be quite angry, you know." Upon the second that threat came to an end, the princess immediately shuddered in cold fright at the image of that peerless couple. All frowning now in that face. "Xiaoqin, how can you be like this, learning the habit of threatening others from your mother? That's because you handed Dragoni over to him. But you also agreed to the idea. That's why I'm troubling you to take the blame for me." Making the most cunning grin ever, the baby boy didn't bring shame to his heritage of being a fox. Di Xiaowan's face went darker than a bottom of a pot. As expected of my brother's son, he really is so lovable and hateful at the same time. While the two were having the conversation to decide his hate, Long Chang Tian on the other hand was already a lost cause. He could hear nothing, only dropping to the floor with his despairing face of what awaits him. "It's over. This time I'm finished. Bastard, you almost dragged me down with you, did you know that? Not only are you not repenting for your crimes, you even tried to frame your own daughter. It's a real tragedy for Dragoni to have a father like you." Sending a kick at the Dragon Chief to vent her anger, Di Xiaowan misses the straggler in the back corner of her eye as the result of her preoccupied attention. For every bastard there must be a bitch to accompany them, otherwise how could they be a perfect match? For Long Chang Tian, his partner naturally falls onto Zhang Rui. This woman saw it all, the lies, the deceit, and the impending capital offense awaiting her husband. Just that instead of coming to the man's aid, this woman wanted to split for the outside the second things turned bad. "You are 100 times worse than that Zhang Rui." She is openly bad on the surface while you are bad straight to your bones. I'm telling you now, no one can save you today. As for your clan, I'll have brother choose a new chief for the dragon clan. I really can't put any trust into you dragons at this point. Before long, wails of sorrow were dominating the air within this corridor and catching the attention of the attendees who came today. The only reason they didn't run over to see what's happening was due to the princess's presence. But when it came time after the deed was done, the scene that's displayed for the people were horrific and fear-instilling. Song's departure. 3. They only knew the princess was an unpredictable fickle of a girl, but they never expected her to be capable of such cruelty like her older brother the king. Sure, Long Chang Tian may not be dead from this ordeal, but as a consequence of his survival, he would likely be chained to the bed for the rest of his life. Beyond the palace. After carefully checking her surroundings and making sure it's safe to come out, Zhang Rui then had the courage to step back into her place of stay. Mother! The first to greet the dragon mistress was Long Xiaoya, the second daughter who eagerly wanted news of the coronation's outcome. What happened at the palace? Did the king take in a lot of women? Did the queen cause a ruckus and halted the ceremony? I knew that woman couldn't be any good. The more she spoke, the more dastardly this maiden became to the point where those cheeks were a flush red. Maybe, the king will even discard this queen. By then I will have a chance. In light of her mouth moving up and down, wanting to tell the truth, Zhang Rui just didn't have the heart to break her daughter's heart. Xia, pack your things, we are leaving here now. The girl was stunned by her mother's order and quickly lost that initial excitement. Mother, why are we rushing to leave when father hasn't returned yet? This, gnashing her teeth, Zhang Rui shows off a resentful look. The little fool is now soaring in the sky. He only needs her, so why would he need us anymore? Hurry and go pack your bags. But before the pair could make it any further out of this place, a series of footsteps were already rushing over. Next thing they knew, a group of heavily armed guards have aligned outside the doorway and the surrounding structure. What are you all doing? Long Xiaoya became enraged by the act. My father is the current chief of the dragon family, who allowed you to be so impudent before us. Dragon chief? The leading captain of these soldiers openly sneered with a cynical tone. It was His Majesty who tasked us to escort you two back to the palace. Long Xiaoya's eyes lit up. It's the king who ordered you to escort us? That means the king has feelings for me? I will go to the king right away. While the oblivious girl continues with her antic, Zhang Rui on the other side was already losing all life from that face. Ha! The guards broke out into a laughing fit over that sudden outburst, as if His Majesty would need your company when he's so madly in love with the queen. The last bit of that sentence was sharp like the needles, piercing straight into Long Xiaoya's heart until it hurts immeasurably. Didn't that woman have a fit and cause the king to abandon her? So what if they are madly in love? The king still took in a lot of women into his harem. Unwilling to lose, the crazy girl tries to fire back using that mocking tone of hers. Without surprise, that damning remark only propelled Zhang Rui into a distraught state. She wanted so dearly to cover up that big mouth of her daughter, but despite the multiple attempts to do so, she could not. Perhaps Miss Xiaoya is still unaware since you couldn't attend the queen's coronation. A flash of contempt beams out of the guard captain's eye. Our king has openly said it before everyone today. In this life he will only have the queen as his wife, there will be no other. One love for one life, that's the promise sire made to her highness. Due to how shocking and explosive that was, Long Xiaoya ended up stumbling backwards with a terrible fright. What did you say? One love for one life? How ridiculous! How could sire only take one woman for this life? Oh, His Majesty also made a warning to those who's coveting after the queen's position. Those that do can walk into the harem from the front, but they will only come back out lying down as a dead person. Boom! Unable to withstand this level of shock, the dragon girl finally crumbled to the floor and fell into despair. Song's departure. 4. Miss Xiaoya, our king and queen are a match made by fate. I don't see how His Majesty would want to give you a second glance. Really, where do you get such confidence from when the queen is so much more beautiful? In these past few days, Bai Yan would rarely leave the Demon Mountain. However, That doesn't mean the little rascal would behave so well. The kid's been scurrying around everywhere and making friends left and right. Long Xiaoya slowly regains herself afterwards. If the king doesn't like me, then why is he having you bunch escort me back? Ho ho, the guard snickered with contempt at the question. Sire only sent us because it's along the way. By the way, a new chief has been chosen for the dragon clan, and the old one is to be disposed of by the new one. Boom. Like having her whole sky blown apart, Long Xiaoya became utterly stupefied by this sudden news. Asking with panic in her voice, "What do you mean by a new chief? Where's my father? Even if I want to be the king's woman, that's my business. Based on what can you abolish my father's post? From now on I'm no longer the big lady of the dragon family? I cannot allow myself to be shunned into the lives of a low-class being. Dragon Chief Long Changtian has been found guilty of deceitful and treasonous practices towards the royal family. The death penalty is inevitable." Wait. Bullying the little fool is what sin? She is my father's daughter. Then I have to say sorry in breaking it to you. That is the Queen's order. Anyone who bullies Miss Dragoni shall bear the same crime as capital offense. Giving a cold hard look at the two females in the room, the guard captain then continues after making sure they understood his words thus far. As for the other offenses, one is the attempted seduction of the king, the second being an attack on the queen. Attacking the queen? When did that happen? Looking at the horrified face of this young lady, the guards knew exactly what the girl was thinking and sneered, "These charges will be judged by the king at another date. Until then, the both of you are to be imprisoned inside the dungeon for later disposal." "No, you can't do this to me. I want to see the king. I want to see him, Upon seeing the encroaching figures ready to take her away in cuffs, the delusional girl finally snapped back to reality and screamed for help. Unfortunately, regardless of how vocal that voice would be today, there shall be no mercy given. In a flash, everything was done and set. As for Zhang Rui, this former dragon mistress knew better than to resist under these circumstances, making her the easier target to handle. White Moon Palace. In this sacred and lovely place, only the facial contour of the stunning woman was highlighted as a result of the moon's ray tonight. As she opened her eyes again from the short nap, Bai Yen has found the manly existence that's constantly by her side until now gone, nowhere to be seen like usual. "Mistress," Little Rice lazily stretched his paws, crawling out of the bed and into the woman's arm. "King just left earlier. What should we do next?" "We're going to the Demon Mountain. I need to do some closed-door training when consuming this try-reaching soul Dan pill I made the other day." She climbs out of the bed and calmly walked towards the doorway. "Mistress, Little Master went out with Dragoni to play. Should I go inform them beforehand?" Clawing at the woman's dress, the baby tiger didn't want to fall off from the swaying motion. "No need, this is the demon realm. It is very safe, not to mention there's Suzaku around. Don't worry about it, no one would disturb their fun." Deed Song's departure. 5. The main priority now lies in improving my strength, only then can I be at ease in gaining what I want. Demon Mountain. Inside the small cabin made out of bamboo pieces, Bai Yen remains seated as the beady little object radiates a faint green light in her hand. Try reaching Soul Dan pill, with this I can finally have a breakthrough again. Smiling with anticipation, she smoothly throws the item into her mouth and allows the stream of warmth to circulate across her internals. But the comforting feelings were short-lived. Moments later, the sensation quickly devolves into a harsh stinging pain, causing that dainty figure to shake all over. As expected, the side effects for taking this is as potent as I thought. But I won't yield. This time I must reach new heights in my cultivation. Under the reddish rays of the moon, the ocean of flowers here were letting off an eerie glow as a result of the extreme environment. King. A fiery red giant bird descends from the sky and transformed into a man with red hair. Showing reverence in that face, he spoke. "Our people have found a way to break the seal around the demon realm, just that the seal is currently being guarded by a group of people. Based on their powers, we suspect they are from the celestial realm and is beyond our ability to overcome. Sire, you will have to personally pay them a visit if we are to defeat them." Wrinkling that brow, Song eventually loosens it and spoke, "Go inform state teacher that I'm leaving for a few days and have him tell my wife about." He knows Bai Yan should be in closed-door training by now. That meant he couldn't wait until then to pass on the message, hence the reason why he's turning to the state teach for help. "I've already contacted state teacher earlier, just that." Lowering his head, the red-haired man that's known as Fire Plume sounded unsure in his voice. "It seems that he's also in closed-door training and isn't responding to my call." "Then go back personally to pass on my word. My message must reach my wife, understood?" After tossing this order behind, Song's figure was then gone from the spot after taking only a step forward. It's as if he was never there to begin with. Fire Plume on the other hand began to panic a bit in the background. "This is too dangerous. Oh, why is my job so difficult? If anything happens to the king while he's out to break the seal by himself, then the one at fault will most certainly be with me. Yet I still have to go back to pass on a message? I need to get a new job." But just as this red-haired man wanted to transform back into his bird form to rush the job and return, a familiar figure from the path nearby seems to have caught his attention. General Fire Plume? The girl apparently recognizes the bird man and hurried over. "General, how come you are here?" As the only individual to have been brought from the mortal world and the sole custodian of the general title from Song, the birdman's reputation was very high despite his mundane origin. "I remember now, you are the big lady from the fox family. You came just in time because I still have something to do. Go back to the palace in my stead and pass on a message to the queen. Tell Her Highness that the king will be away temporarily and would return soon." Since the royal family of this world were foxes, Fire Plume just assumed it's safe to hand off the mission to the newcomer. After all, the list of banned individuals didn't include this big lady from the fox clan. "Don't worry, General Fire Plume, I will bring your message to the queen for sure." All smiles, the lady sounded innocent and naive without an ounce of malicious intent. Song's departure. 6. Now I can catch up to His Majesty and not let him tackle the danger alone. Fire Plume exhales a sigh of relief at this thought. However, as soon as the red-haired man disappeared from the spot, the innocent and naive look of the lady was nowhere to be seen anymore, replaced only by the look of a gloomy and sharp figure. "Why are you doing this?" A low voice rang out from behind, causing Qing Shue's brow to wrinkle up. "What are you doing out here? Aren't you afraid of state teacher discovering you?" The woman snaps back with her own retort. Twitching over that comment, the man steels himself despite the unease he felt. He is currently in closed-door training, he won't know about my departure. But that's not the point. "Answer me first, why are you doing this?" Qing Shui just scoffed off the interrogating tone and slowly turned around to confront that ordinary-looking face. That's right, the one back at the cave with his face perennially shrouded in fog was no more than an ordinary-looking foe with no special features. "I really don't know why state teacher would choose a person like this to become the substitute of the king. How can he be compared with His Majesty's handsome beauty? You still haven't helped me yet. That's why I have to take actions into my own hands. Thank goodness His Majesty is gone right now." Grinning with a slight contempt in her lips, Qing Shue's word had a mocking tone to it. The man frowned. "You should be glad General Fire Plume is not originally from the demon realm, otherwise he would have definitely recognized the fact that you are impersonating that family's lady. Don't treat me as a fool, I know what I'm doing, everything is within my grasp all right." Chuckling in a narcissistic manner, "Then again, I didn't expect my plan to work out so perfectly. Good thing I'm aware of that Fire Plume being unfamiliar with the Fox clan's big lady. If not for that reason, do you think I would still try to impersonate her?" The demon race never uses the face to recognize one's identity because it's far too easy to impersonate, hence the heavy reliance on scent. "Don't forget, I am also a fox." The man's complexion didn't look so well after hearing the snake woman had skinned one of his clansmen. Qing Shui scoffs off the comment. "Yes, you used to be a fox, but only a prisoner, I might remind you. I didn't expect you to be so fond of your ancestry after how cold they've treated you over the years. Just a reminder, none of the members in the fox family cares about you. And the reason why I pretended to be a fox is because sire holds great faith in his own kind. The same is true of those around him. If not for that reason, I would have impersonated the other races instead. Then what are you planning to do next? The man's tone carried a hinge of frustration. Holding her step at that question, Qing Shui turns around to stare straight into her accomplice's eye. The coronation ceremony is already over, yet you remain indifferent and unwilling to help me. Just so you know, I will never give up on that man, so I can only do this myself. Though blind and one-sided, the snake's love for Dicong have already grown to the level where it's part of her flesh and bone. There's no turning back, even if it means crossing the lines of no return. The news of Dicong's departure naturally remains unknown to Bai Yan due to the outside interreference. As such, half a month had transpired without a single word from either end. That was until a loud explosive bang shook the skies today. Dicong's departure, 7. Outside the bamboo cabin, Di Xiaowan was just in the middle of accompanying Bai Xiachen and Dragoni in their game of tag when the ruckus occurred. As a result, the one to suffer the most had to be Little Rice, who tragically ended up dropping face first to the ground after jolting up from his napping spot. By the time the demon princess turned around to see what's going on, a dainty pair of hands had already pushed open the door to reveal that blood-red dress and the person donning it. "Sister-in-law, have you made a breakthrough?" she asks with hopeful anticipation. Nodding in return, Bai Yan confirms the question with that gesture. "Yes, I just managed to reach a new level in my cultivation. From now on I am no longer just at the level of king rank. Sister-in-law is awesome." Jumping up and down with glee, Di Xiaowan could not hold back her excitement like a little child. "Of course, my mother is the best." Bai Xiachen also decides to chime in with his proud little voice. To one-up his auntie as well, the boy immediately followed that sentence up with a heavy jump into those long-sought-after arms. Losing all of his proud air, the kid reverts back to his pitiful and childish self. "Mother, I missed you so much, you know." "I also missed my precious Xiachen as well." Rubbing the little steambun's head, Bai Yan was all smiles. "All right, where is your father?" Making a glimpse of disappointment, the kid ends up pursing that lip like a unhappy child. "I haven't seen Batty father for a long time now." At that, Bai Yan's brow immediately wrinkled up into a knot. "Xiachen haven't seen Dicong for a long time? You father is likely busy with the state's affair. To make up for the neglect over this half a month, why don't we take a trip outside the palace as compensation, all right?" Lightening up in his eyes, Bai Xiachen's mood promptly fluttered up. "Okay, mother, let's go out of the palace, I want to play." "Let's go then." One hand holding her son and the other holding Dragoni, "I will take the both of you out to play." Watching this from the back, Di Xiaowan puckers her lip like a grieving waifu. "Sister-in-law, what about me?" Halting at the call, Bai Yan looks back at the demon princess. "You and Little Rice can follow us." In light of being disappointed by the answer, the girl nevertheless did as told and picked up the spinning-eyed tiger from the floor. "Wait for us. We're coming." Why do I feel like I've been disfavored ever since Dragoni came into existence? Originally Di Xiaowan only wanted to complain inwardly to vent some of that grievance. Who could have guessed a moment of carelessness had caused her to mutter it aloud, allowing the baby tiger in her hand to hear it up front. When have you ever been in favor? If she's never been in favor, then how can she lose it, right? Going dark in the face. Nobody would call you a mute if you don't speak. I'm such a failure as a princess, even this rascal is picking on me now. Then princess, what do you think of Dragoni? Little Rice ponders this as he's being hung around by the tail. Mistress rarely cares about a stranger, let alone have a stranger hang around herself. But Dragoni has broken every norm. Think about what? Isn't Dragoni the little missy from the Dragon Clan? What is there to think about? Well, she's not anymore since the chief has been changed to a new one. Doubtful in her eyes, Di Xiaowan didn't comprehend the meaning behind that question. Twitching in the corner of his tiger lip, Little Rice had to hand it to this clueless girl. Forget what I said, it's nothing then. Oh, forget it, asking this dumbaklutz wouldn't help anyways. Maybe Suzaku or state teacher would know. Beyond the palace, a bustling market was the first area of the capital in which the group visited for their little venture. Mother, the demon realm isn't much different from the human world, don't you think? Looking around, Bai Xiachen had curious eyes as he scanned the new terrain with a sense of novelty. However, that initial excitement soon changed to disappointment after he looked up from the side. Beating Qing Shui, 1. Mother? Seeing Bai Yan's dazed expression, the baby boy quickly wrinkled up his lovely forehead and thought, what happened to mother? The soft little voice of the steam bun did grab Bai Yan's mind back to reality. However, her focus clearly wasn't entirely here with them. Touching her son's head in a comforting manner, I am fine, you and your auntie can take Dragoni off to play first. I want to be alone for a little bit. Ever since she came out of her closed-door training, a sense of restlessness has been plaguing this woman's heart. Okay, raising his eyes to meet hers, I will not trouble mother then. If there's anything disturbing you though, mother can always confide in me. I will always be mother's favorite son and be your great protector. Feeling the warmth running straight into her heart, Bai Yan just couldn't resist leaning down to give her son a peck on the cheek despite it being a public place. He's just too adorable and lovable to not do that. Go, I will catch up very soon. Bye-bye, mother. Making a goodbye gesture, Bai Xiaochen then went ahead to lead Dragoni over to Di Xiaowan's side. Auntie, let's go shopping, okay? Feeling moved to tears by this request, the princess finally felt useful for once. Just that. What happened to sister-in-law? Her pretty eyes were full of doubts which reflected in that hesitant tone. Shaking his little head in return, Bai Xiaochen answers honestly, I don't know, maybe mother misses batty father? Biting his lip, the boy makes a frustrated look while hanging his head. No matter what happened in the past, mother would never keep secrets from me, but now. Auntie, after a moment of his silence, the boy seems to have regained some of his vigor upon coming to some sort of conclusion. Before batty father told me I could enhance my strength by coming to the demon realm. Do you know where I can get help for that? This? Scratching her head over that dilemma, the demon princess sounded stumped. I don't really know. It's likely only state teacher and my brother would know. Sighing at that answer, it was as the kid thought. It looks like I would need to go look for batty father, only then will I be able to get stronger. Atop of a mountain peak that's reached up to the clouds, a certain woman of extraordinary beauty was currently resting against the big oak tree growing here. The scenery of this demon realm really is different from the mortal world. Looking up at the blood-colored moon that's perennially hanging in the sky, Bai Yan's eyes showed a hint of fondness for this sort of picture. It's getting late, I should get back to Xiaochen and them. But just as she's about to leave after getting up, that's when her ears picked up a slithering sly voice from the corner of her eyes. Who, come out? Stepping forward from the flowered-covered rocks was a woman donning a light blue dress, her face cold and proud as she confronted Bai Yan's stare. What's the matter? Likely able to perceive the fact that the newcomer came with ill intent, her voice was sharp and snappy. Queen. Qing Shui didn't mind the poor reception and donned a cold smile of her own, just that it's also mixed with a certain level of mockery. I came today to tell you a few things lest you stay in the dark. What is it? Bai Yan had no reason to be rash after hearing that, only leaning her back against the big oak tree with that confident smile of hers. Beating Qing Shui, too, I'm just pitying you. Pressing down her jealousy, Qing Shui's eyes forces a look of sympathy like she's genuinely doing this out of kindness. Guess you don't know about my relationship with your husband the king, do you? Chuckling at that statement, Bai Yan didn't seem fazed at all from the outside. Di Tsong has a relationship with you? Can't be, as enemies? The ridicule instantly caused a crack in the snake's pretentious face, making it dark as a coal. Isn't a female supposed to be enraged as soon as they hear their husband has been in a relationship with another woman? Why is she so unconventional? Gritting her teeth, the woman attempts to downplay her rage by snickering triumphantly, Don't get so conceited, queen. Do you really think His Majesty would only take you as his woman? I don't mind telling you the truth, me and His Majesty have already become one a long time ago. If not for your appearance, the position you are in now would have been mine ages ago. The more she spoke, the angrier this woman became to the point where that chest was now heaving up and down. In fact, her appearance gave the impression that Bai Yan really did steal her man and post despite being not true. Are you finished? If finished, then I'm leaving. Straightening her back, Bai Yan ignores the stranger and was ready to take her leave. You don't believe me? Qing Shui said it with such sarcasm that it's almost believable. Why do you think that you are the queen and not me? I'll tell you, it's because there's a rumor circulating around that the king must wait for the destined individual to be his wife, otherwise the demon realm will face a calamity so great that destruction would be inevitable. That last bit instantly stops Bai Yan's foot from leaving. Continue. Ho, you are just born with a better fate than I. You think His Majesty is being good to you because of who you are? Don't make me laugh, he's only taking you in out of consideration for the little prince's sake and the rumor in the air. Otherwise, why else would he take in a mortal woman? Thunk. Out of the blue, a heavy knock from a stone had landed on Qing Shui's forehead, causing her to flinch backwards from the stinging pain. Enraged by the transgression, the snake woman immediately searched for the source and saw the little girl standing not far away from Bai Yan's location. You bad woman, you are not allowed to bully the queen. Frowning over the signature of that voice, Bai Yan too also turned around to seek the owner. To her surprise, it was someone she knew. Dragoni, what are you doing here? Where's Xiaochen and Xiaowan? Queen, I snuck away while brother Xiaochen and auntie Xiaowan was busy buying some presents for you. All steaming in her tender little face, the missy once again picked up another stone and tossed it at the snake. Qing Shui scoffed at the pitiful act with ridicule in those eyes. Earlier she only took the hit due to her attention being occupied by Bai Yan's dismissive behavior. Now that she's aware of this brat, there's no way she could allow another hit. Sweeping her hand at the projectile, the force released immediately stopped the stone midair and forced it right back to the source. Dragoni! All gloomy in the face, Bai Yan reflexively pulls the girl into her arms for protection, and thankfully so as well because the impact from the returning stone had left a small crater in its wake. Imagine what would have happened if it had landed on Dragoni's body. She'd be toast. Do you think I would believe your words just because of your claim? I will only believe in Deed Song himself, my husband. Loosening her grip on the little missy, Bai Yan then went on the offensive with her aura. Now grovel before me this instant. Who? Qing Shui still wanted to snap back at the command, but that quickly subsided once the foe's oppressive aura came gushing into her face and body. Beating Qing Shui, 3. Under this oppressive pressure, her body involuntarily bends towards the ground with the knee, causing her to panic and unsure what to do aside from looking up at that domineering existence. Kneel! At that, Qing Shui's body promptly banged against the floor, letting those tears to trickle down as a result of the stinging pain caused by the impact. There's so much resentment in those eyes right now that it's unnerving. Queen, you will believe me one of these days. Know what I say is not false, and you will regret not heeding my words that the king loves me more than you. Only after enduring that immense pressure did she manage to spew the last bit out. Even so, her back was already covered in cold sweat that sent chills down the spine. You bad woman! In the heat of the moment, Dragoni takes this chance to pounce at the person with her little hands. And as a result of the nails being so abnormally sharp, Qing Shui's face was immediately left with several scratch marks from the tiny girl. This pain caused then was so sharp and unexpected that the snake nearly lost her breath. Staring venom at the girl responsible for this, damn brat, I will one day make you pay for what you did today. You will beg me to kill you before I'm through. Dragoni come back. Bai Yan orders, worried the little missy might stain her hands because of this filth. Sure enough, the obedient girl immediately returned and reverted back to that innocent and naive self. As far as I know, the snake clan have already been annihilated with only the second miss escaping with her life. Faintly curving those lips into a sneer, Bai Yan then pulls out a dagger and waves it around against the foe's cheek. If I'm not wrong, you are that second miss of the snakes? Dismay grips the woman's face, causing it to go deathly pale. How did she know? I clearly covered up myself with the fox skin. How can she see through my disguise with only a glance? If you were someone else, then maybe I would have perhaps spared your life. However, what a shame, my grudge with your clan cannot be overlooked. Bai Yan proclaims, sealing the demonist's fate with a death sentence in that statement. Qing Wan kidnapped my son and forced him to take poison. Furthermore, that wretched woman even summoned her ancestor to kill me. If I still remain unmoved, then I don't deserve to be a mother or a human for that matter. Qing Shui, on the other hand, was now so overcome with fear that her whole body was convulsing. She couldn't even utter a single word in protest or defense. No wonder he wouldn't let me come make trouble for the queen. This human woman is not a fool like that General Fireplume. As remorseful as this snake was over her own folly, she knew there's no way Bai Yan would let her off easy. Queen, continuing to use her tenacious attitude to defend herself, Qing Shui remains firm with her lies as a last resort. I've said it, I'm not deceiving you. I may be a member of the snake clan, but that doesn't mean it's right for you to be prejudiced against my existence. I'm only here today out of kindness to remind you. Slightly irked by the shameless deceit this snake pulls Eve when things have come this far, Bai Yan decides to let her have a little taste of what it means to lie in front of her. In one little sliding motion, a stinging pain grips the snake's face and allows the warm liquid under the skin to flow outward. Flustering up over that sensation, she can't do this to me. If my face is ruined, then how am I supposed to seduce the king? Queen. It was then at this moment that a soldier came running over. Based on how rushed and flustered the man looked, it couldn't be anything good. This is not good, Queen. Your son and the princess faced an accident. What? Nearly losing her balance from having those legs go numb, Bai Yan completely drops the dagger from her hand and turns to the massager in haste. Where is my son? Where is Xiaowan? Take me to them this instant. Beating Qing Shui for, yes, Queen. The guard bows his heads without hiding the anxiety in those eyes, thus causing everyone to miss that peculiar light which should have been a huge giveaway. Panicking straight from her heart, the woman drops everything and ran for the city, completely forgetting the fact that she's supposed to be disposing of a certain snake right now. Bai Xiachen was Bai Yan's life, therefore it's no wonder her reaction would be so devastatingly huge. Alone again after being left in the background, a man in navy blue appears in front of Qing Shui. Why are you doing this? I warned you before, the queen is not an average person like you think. If you rush in carelessly, then you are bound to be in danger. I saved this time, but what about the next? Do you expect to be so fortunate every time? Pursing those lips in resentment, Qing Shui eventually manages to stand up despite the faint shake lingering inside. What method did you use to save me earlier? Over the years I made some puppets. They've been expended in order to save you. Looking at the man's frustrated face, Qing Shui not only didn't feel remorseful for her rash action, she only saw it as an opportunity. Then does that mean you also have some puppets in the palace? I have no puppet in the palace. The king is a watchful man. If I dare insert my eyes into there, he would surely discover them. Smiling wryly, it's just that I've managed to insert my puppets into the various clans to keep track of the outside world. There were two reasons for this. One being he's always bored by being confined to the locations directed by others. The second, he wanted companionship and news from the outside. Now imagine how painful it must be for this man to lose all that he's built up over the decades. I can't wait any longer. The snake demoness tightly clenched her fist, showing a glint of coldness in her eyes. When will you help me? If you don't move soon, then I will continue to find the queen. Do you want to see me dead? If so, then I will do it and show you. The man's heart shuddered at the last part. Making a bitter face, he sighs, Fine, I will help you in the coming days. This was already the last chance. If he doesn't move, the king would surely return. By then, Qing Shui wouldn't be able to escape no matter the efforts he pulls. Within the bustling market of the capital city, Bai Yan hurriedly followed the guard to the location of her son and the princess. To the woman's surprise, the scene to welcome her arrival didn't exactly pan out in the way she imagined. Rather than her loved ones being in danger, there's only a pile of thugs lying on the floor moaning and groaning in pain and very close to death. Sister-in-law? Di Xiaowan only needed a glance to notice the woman's arrival. Immediately making a delighted face, the princess's mood should have been great. That was until she noticed Dragoni tagging along by holding Bai Yan's hand. Where have you been, Dragoni? Me and Xiachen have been looking all over for you. Gnawing at her nails over the question, the little missy puts on a guilty face. I wanted to follow the queen, that's why I went to find her. Normally Di Xiaowan would be outraged at that sort of explanation, but against that innocent and naive face, she couldn't even get mad and bear to blame her. Xiachen. Running over fast at the sight of her son, Bai Yan's hand remains shaky despite everything being okay. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left you alone. I'm so happy that you're fine. She almost lost her son once before, that's why she's getting so emotional. The experience was simply too much for this mother the first time around. Mother, don't cry, I am fine. Moving that hand to help wipe some of those tears, Bai Xiachen sensibly soothes the crying Bai Yan with his bright smile. When father is not around, I am the only male in the house, that's why I need to protect mother and auntie. There's no need to worry about me. Beating Qin Shui, 5. Di Xiaowan was literally moved to tears by how sensible that statement was from her nephew. It's almost unheard of to hear such wondrous things from a child of that age with all things considered. Xiao Yun, tell me what happened. Bai Yan eventually calms down after stabilizing her emotions. I don't know either, the princess shakes her head cluelessly. In the demon realm, none would ever dare attack us due to the superior difference of our blood. However, these people ignored our orders and even rushed us despite the fact. Slightly wrinkling that brow, Bai Yan turns her attention to the pile of near-death thugs that's currently piled up along the street. Puppets, these people are all puppets. As puppets, they are without fear, so it's normal for them to not fear your lineage. After thinking it through, this was the only answer she could come up with now that her head has cooled down. But there's another underlying issue though. Why did these puppets attack now of all times? Suddenly, Bai Yan's sharp gaze shifted over to the guard responsible for bringing the message. How did you know where to find me, and why were you able to get to me in such a timely manner? Her voice carrying a threatening tone. Plop. Knowing he's now on the stand, the soldier promptly got to his knees in haste to explain himself. Demons are planted all over the world here, and each kind has their ways of communicating through the air. That's how I came to know your highness's whereabout. It was through the words of others. The explanation was downright impeccable, forcing Bai Yan to remain on the passive side due to her inability to judge whether it's false or true. However, the sixth sense within kept nagging in the back of her mind that it's been premeditated. Xiachen, Xiaowan, we're going back first. We will wait for Di Tsong to return before continuing to discuss this matter. Loosening her brow, Bai Yan decides to leave things as they are for now. Also, send someone up to the mountains and retrieve the Snake Clan's second lady. I seem to have left that one behind due to the emergency. Exclaiming in astonishment, the princess sounded incredulous after hearing the news. Sister-in-law, you actually met that snake woman? Don't tell me, did she bully you? That bad woman said many bad things about the king in front of her highness, but the queen only needed to yell once to make her kneel. Dragoni decides to chime in to give the answer, for she's too amazed by Yan's awesomeness. Queen is so amazing. I almost forgot the coronation is already completed. Now all demons in this world will fear you and do as you command. Even if Qin Shui is unwilling, there's no way for her to disobey. Cocking her face in a high and mighty manner, the demon princess looked so proud for some reason. Smiling at the girl's demeanor as well after being affected by the light mood, let's go all of you, it's getting late so we should head back. Okay, Bai Xiachen's interest was on the low side so his reply remains at that. What's wrong? Bai Yan turns and asked, not missing the damp mood of her son's tone. The gift I bought for mother has been smashed up by these thugs. Me and Andy spent a lot of time and effort to pick it. The grievance in his heart manifested into the form of a hanging head and the look of tears slowly building up in those eyes. Aching over that picture, Bai Yan's hand hurried to pull him in. You are the best gift your mother I can have. There is nothing more important. Her voice soft and melting as she spoke. Almost instantaneous, Bai Xiachen's droopy appearance disappeared, leaving only that dazzling smile that's as warm as the sun. Mother, I want to go home now. Okay, let's go back. Seeing how her son has regained his vigor, Bai Yan's mood also lightens up after being infected by that happiness. Meanwhile, in the background, Di Xiaowan was growing increasingly unsure after seeing this heartwarming scene, Should I tell sister-in-law about the abnormal behavior of Xiachen earlier? Beating Qing Shui 6. That night, Bai Yan was in the middle of meditating inside her room when she suddenly opened her eyes upon hearing the small footsteps of indecision outside. Xiao Wan, come in if you want, don't just stand there. The girl outside the door was rather startled by the voice. Nevertheless, she eventually makes up her mind and walks in with a push. Sister-in-law, I have something to tell you. Di Xiaowan rubs her hand with unease as she gazed over to the woman lying on the bed. Against that form, Bai Yan just couldn't resist a laugh. If you have anything to say then say it, don't worry. Today when me and Xiachen met those puppets? A pang of worry grips the princess's heart after remembering that scene. There should have been no problem considering my strength, but one of them broke the present we picked for you. Upon noticing the wrinkle in the woman's forehead, Di Xiaowan's demeanor grew even more squeamish. How should I explain it? When Xiachen saw that, he changed completely. It was very scary, like he went into a frenzied state. Now Bai Yan was openly frowning. So you are saying that pile of thugs wasn't done in by you? Going white at that accusation, the girl promptly objects to the notion. How can you say that about me, sister-in-law? Am I that kind of person? Not buying that one bit, Bai Yan gives her friend there an accusing look. What do you think? As much as the princess wanted to continue to protest in her own defense, Di Xiaowan knew she's been caught. The miserable image of the former dragon chief still lingers in her mind, which was solely caused by the orders she gave to the palace guards. Now that I look back at it, alright, I am that kind of person. But sister-in-law, this is not the time to be talking about me, we're talking about Xiachen. I only have one nephew, I don't want him to be in any danger. Bai Yan didn't answer and stayed quiet for a while. Where is your brother now? Him. Pursing her lips in discontent, Di Xiaowan gives a snort at the mention. I reckon he's shutting himself away again to deal with the state's affair. It's common for him to stay missing for days or even weeks on end without anyone seeing him. In particular, brother wants to attack the celestial realm recently, so he must be busy thinking up of ways to attack those pretentious celestials. But just when Di Xiaowan wanted to explain the story of how her brother intends to attack a whole world for the sake of a simple careless remark by Bai Yan, the princess abruptly stopped due to the keynote deed song left behind from way back. It's supposed to be a surprise, so she's not in the position to reveal this secret. A gift should come from the one that's prepared it. The girl knows at least that much. What about state teacher then? Tightening her brow even further, Bai Yan continues to ask. I haven't seen state teacher for a long time as well, maybe he's in closed-door training. Puckering her lips to the side, the girl answers with a grunt. Tell me where or how to find Deed Song then. Maybe he would know how to handle Xiachen's case. Slowly rising from the bed, Bai Yan's appearance clearly shows she's ready to go. Sister-in-law, do you need me to accompany you to those places? Without delay, the princess lists the usual locations her brother would be during times like these. No need. Shaking her head, Bai Yan shoots the idea down and walked out the door on her own. Now things are starting to make sense on why no one would know about Deed Song's departure. The man has had a bad habit of disappearing for long periods of time without so much as a word, making this all the more normal. Leave 1. Soaring through the air that's colored by the redness of the moon, Bai Yan only stopped when she finally caught a glimpse of that silvery hair belonging to a certain domineering man whom she's all too familiar with. Bai Yan didn't understand why her husband was here in this remote location and at such hour as well. However, before she could call out his name and get his attention, she was interrupted by the appearance of an old man quickly coming forward from the rear. Second elder? She mutters this upon realizing who it was. Why is he having a meeting with the second elder when he could have done it at the palace? Not to mention, he should have come seen me when I came out of my closed-door training. Finding that the man was about to turn around in her direction now, Bai Yan's heart trembled and hurriedly hid behind the tree nearby. The doubts in her had grown so huge that it's affecting her complexion. It's gloomy and dark. The suspicion didn't only apply to the woman either. The one known as Second Elder also appeared perplexed by the strange summoning. Sire, did you call for me? All respectful, the old man cups his hand to pay his greeting. The man made a smirk that's somehow different from his usual style. Coming up, I want you to send a few more people to follow the queen around. Regarding that order, the second elder just couldn't resist a chuckle. The queen is truly fortunate to have such high concern from your majesty. But I must add, there's no reason to be so worried about her highness's safety. There's the princess following her around, and there's no way anyone from the demon realm would try to bring harm in her highness's way. Is that so? The man's tone now sounded very strange and off. Second elder, do you know why I'm being so good to the queen? Isn't it because sire's love for the queen is extremely deep? Puzzled by the awkward conversation, second elder was now openly giving a strange look to the other side. The person in front is definitely the king, there's no mistake. Whether it be the scent or aura, all of it is right. But why is he saying such strange things now? Love? The man sneered. You think someone like I would have love? She gave birth to my son the prince. That's why I'm being exceptionally grateful to her. However, that doesn't excuse her lack of morality with another man from the mortal world. That Chu Yifeng, she spent several years with him and even had my son call that man his godfather. Does she really expect me to believe in her innocence? What? Second elder was shocked. If the matter was said by someone else, then he may not necessarily believe in it, but this was the king spouting the claim. But the elder hesitated for a while but continued to ask anyways, when you first returned to us, why did you make that order then, claiming the queen is first and you only second? Strange. Sire is acting exceptionally strange today. What's more, shouldn't the king look for the state teacher or first elder instead of myself for matters of this degree? I'm only called second because I joined the demon council earlier than most. That doesn't mean anything. And you believe that? The man's face showed a satiric look. In the demon realm, the ultimate authority will always lie in my hands. If I want to take it back, then I can take it back. I only said those things so she would marry me. Shuddering inside over that explosive news, the elder quickly lowered his head, afraid the mere act of making eye contact would warrant severe punishment at this moment. This is incredible. I can't believe the king could pretend to be so affectionate for such a long time. Leave too. But sire, why are you doing this? The second elder gnashes his teeth and brought the doubt forward. The world has long prophesied that I must wait for the destined woman to come. They say only she can give me a child, and only she can save demon realm from utter destruction. I hold this world in great regard, that's why sacrificing a mere woman for it is nothing noteworthy of a price. The man's voice sounded cruel and ruthless, slicing through the evening wind with every word of his tongue. Bai Yen on the other hand have already lost her wits after hearing all those heartbreaking things. Closing those pained eyes, the words of her father back on earth once again rang within those ears. Yenner, forgive father, I have no other choice today. For the family, the price of sacrificing your mother pales in comparison. The demon realm is extremely important to me, so the sacrifice of a woman is nothing. Those words kept spinning in her mind until a small little claw stretched over to push against her dress, causing that dizziness to come to a bumbling stop. Then before Little Rice could say a single word, Bai Yen had reached down to cup that mouth, forcing the little feline to stay silent at the eye signal. Sire. The second elder sounded shaken as a layer of compassion filled those eyes of his. The queen, she is still the mother of the prince, wouldn't it be? It's precisely because she is my son's mother, that's why I'm giving her a lot of favors. However, if she dares to leave, then I will have her never meet my son again in this lifetime. A sense of killing intent swiftly blows out of the man's gaze, showing how serious his words were. The second elder still wasn't entirely convinced here and was deliberating on whether or not to inform the first elder or state teacher. Unfortunately. Also, the man's voice once again rang out. This matter cannot be known to anyone except you in order to avoid having our conversation leaked to unwanted ears. This includes keeping it a secret from the Demon Council, understand? Yes, sire. The second elder nervously complies by bowing his head. The king's cruelty has long been known throughout the demon realm, just that he's always thought the queen would be special. If he can be this heartless even to the prince's birth mother, what would he do to me if others find out? After a moment of thought, the elder decides to ask one more thing. Using a meek voice, Sire, I also heard that. While you were in the mortal world, you were very pampering of the queen to the point where you didn't force her to come if she didn't wish it. But now you are. Because, I want her to willingly carry out the coronation ceremony of her own accord. Only by doing so will her fate be intertwined with the demon realm as a whole. Otherwise, why else would I condone her immoral past? There's nothing more the second elder could ask for at this point. Giving a moment of silence to figure out what he must do, the elder complies wholeheartedly. I understand, sire. Later, I will send someone to follow the queen. You can retreat now. I still have other matters to tend to. The man waves his hand, issuing the dismissal of their meeting. After the senior left, the man as well disappeared from sight, leaving only the silent air and the bloodish red moon hanging in the night. Well, that's assuming Bai Yen and Little Rice wasn't around to hear everything. Released from that hand and able to get a breath, the baby tiger speaks in a forceful and fearful manner. Mistress, I could never have thought the king would be such a person. Slowly closing her eyes at that, Bai Yen didn't answer back, only standing there for a good minute in idle deep thought. However, when she did finally open them again, that light in her pupils were sharp and cold. Leave 3. Things haven't been clarified yet, so let's not jump to conclusions yet. And I believe indeed, Song. How can I believe his favoring and doting is all because I'm Zaken's mother? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Mistress, but he knows about Chu Yifeng. In this place, who else would know about him? Little Rice adds, still wary of the situation. If it was going to be like this from the beginning, then I shouldn't have believed in Song. Even if Mistress would be annoyed at first, it'd be better than letting Mistress get hurt like this. Likely irked by having the flaw in her excuse pointed out, Bai Yen coldly swept her gaze down at the grieving tiger. Don't let Xiachen or Xiaowan know about this yet. Then Mistress you, let's go back first. The woman's hand tenses up at that sentence, her face abnormally white under the moonlight. White Moon Palace. Di Xiaowan was currently leaning her beautiful face against one of her hands as the other tapped against the table in boredom. But just as her patience was about to reach a critical point, the door was suddenly pushed open and in came that amazing red figure. Sister-in-law, why are you coming back so soon? Did you see my brother? What did he say? But as soon as this nosy princess finished that bombardment of questions, the girl immediately began to notice the oddity and strangeness in the other side's face. Her heart tenses up as a result. What's wrong, sister-in-law? Why is your face looking so white? Does it? Xiachen can't be saved? Her voice was a sobbing mess now as those eyes teared up with water. Her imagination could only be called wild in how she could deduce something like that from mere seconds of interaction. Xiaowan, Bai Yen began to stare straight at the other side. I have something I want to ask you. What? The princess blinks and blinks, puzzled by the suddenness of the question. Second elder of the Demon Council, is his loyalty trustable? Why are you asking me this question, sister-in-law? Did second elder offend you? The princess has stopped crying by this point and got serious. As far as I know, everyone within the Demon Council was personally hand-picked by my brother, the only exception being first elder himself. Their loyalty shouldn't be an issue. Aside from first elder? Now things are starting to make sense to Bai Yen. No wonder Dizong wouldn't have the second elder share the plan with the first elder. I want to ask you one more thing. Bai Yen faintly closes her eyes like she's afraid to speak the next part. However, it didn't long before she opened them again with a pale complexion. In the demon realm, is there any way for a person to change their looks, including their scent and aura? The princess simply chuckled at that. You must be joking with me, sister-in-law. Changing one's look is easy, but one's smell and aura? That's not possible because it's something we are born with from within. Tightly clenching those fingers into a ball at the cold, hard truth, Bai Yan's expression showed extreme sadness like her soul's been ripped from that body. I see then. Changing one's appearance wasn't an unreasonable thing to do. The human world alone had plenty of people capable of doing just that. But one's scent and aura would never change. Even for Bai Yan, regardless of how amazing her alchemy was, not even she could pull off such a stunt. Well, that's assuming she didn't peel off someone's skin and then wore it as her own. which was impossible lest she becomes a demon like that Qing Shui. What exactly happened, sister-in-law? Tugging at the woman's sleeve, Di Xiaowan appeared to be in distress over Bai Yan's strange behavior. Please don't scare me. My brother had me take care of you. I can't have anything happen to you. That was a mistake. At the mention of Di Tsong's name again, Bai Yan's complexion sank. Xiaowan, leave me for now, I want to be alone. She sighs and beckons the other side to leave first. Leave for, okay. Pinching her lips in discouragement, Di Xiaowan nevertheless did as told and walked towards the door. But just before her departure, the princess didn't forget to cast one final glance backwards. Sister-in-law, if someone tries to harm you in any way, then you must tell me. I will have brother peel their skin for you. I'm fine, so don't worry. Bai Yan manages to force an unconvincing smile. Xiaowan is very naive. She shouldn't suspect anything. After the demon princess departed and left Bai Yan to her own bidding, the depressed woman's first act was to pull little Rice into her embrace to comb through that soft fur as if the act alone would be able to comfort that hurt heart. Against the miserable appearance of his mistress and that droplet of tear quickly building up in the corner of those eyes, little Rice naturally grew worried. Little Rice, I've been having many dreams lately. There were you and there were Di Tsong. Everything was so real, like it really happened at one point. It was because of those scenes that I wanted to give him a chance, to try accepting him. Letting her eyes build up a layer of water, she bites her lip with a pang of frustration plastered on the surface. Me and him? How am I supposed to believe we are fated to be together in two different lives? At first I thought someone had impersonated him by putting on a disguise back there, but you've heard what Xiaowan said. The little tiger didn't cut in, only licking her hand in an attempt to comfort his mistress with the act. How stupid of me. I actually hoped that everything was a lie. Xiaowan may be silly at times, but she is still the princess. Her words are believable. After all, she had lived for hundreds of years already. If there is someone in the demon realm that could change their aura and scent completely, there's no way she wouldn't know. Bai Yan could still believe in Di Xiaowan's word because the girl never snubbed her at all, not in the past and most certainly not now. However, the story of Di Tsong only taking her for the sake of the demon realm. Bai Yan won't deny it. It's bothering her a lot right now in light of being uncertain still. Then what are you planning to do, mistress? Lowering his head, little Rice snuggles himself against her body to further his cuteness. No matter what you do, I will always support you. If you can't give up on Di Tsong, then I'm willing to stay with you regardless, mistress. I want to give him a chance. If he can return to me within half a month and explain himself, then I will believe in him. Yes, that's right. Despite everything she's heard or seen thus far, she's willing to give the man another chance. Bai Yan simply refuses to believe all the days they spent together are all fake. Master, I will stay and wait with you then. Wiggling his tiger head against that hand, I saw it with my own eyes of how much he cares for you in the human world. That's why I won't believe it either that he only approached you for the sake of little master. Bai Yan was at a loss on how to respond to that. Slowly closing her eyes, she lets the many events of the past play out within her mind like someone watching it through a lens. Di Tsong, I will believe you one last time. As long as you come and give me an explanation within half a month, then I will believe in you. Under the shrouding rays of the moonlight, the mountains in the demon realm are as usual quiet and serene, with the exception of one location. Pacing around anxiously, Qing Shui had a hopeful look in her eyes when a rustling sound from behind caught her attention. How is it? She asked nervously. The man had restored his previous appearance already, a bland face and black hair. Quiet at first against the snake demoness stare, he eventually spoke after giving a faint sigh. Because the king wasn't in the palace and the state teacher being in retreat, I was able to stick one my puppets to figure out the queen's whereabout. Don't call her the queen, she doesn't deserve it. Qing Shui's face sank, clearly dissatisfied with the fact that Bai Yan holds such title. Despite the man wanting to say something again at the demand, he relented and dropped the subject. Qing Shui, I've done the favor you asked of me, and now I must leave before the state teacher comes out. That person will surely become aware of my actions now that I've exposed myself. Leave. 5. Qing Shui was absolutely shocked by the news. Growing anxious in her voice, "How can you expose yourself? If you are gone, then who is going to help me in the future? I have no other choice either. The queen is extremely intelligent, that's why I lured the second elder out to fool her that night. If things continue as is, state teacher would surely discover what I did after he comes out." The man bitterly laughs at himself, frustrated as well by the situation. He knows that there's no way for him to escape death, but even so, a few days was still a few days, it's better than nothing. Second elder? Qing Shui's expression appeared unhappy. "I remember the one with the highest position is first elder, why didn't you look for him instead?" "You don't understand Qing Shui." The man shakes his head to shut the idea down. First elder is someone that has been around before the demon realm was sealed. He knows far too many things. If it was him that night, I know he would have seen through me. Biting her lip, a venomous light flare out of the snake's eye. "I don't care, you must help me. I want that human woman dead." Qing Shui. The demand angered the man and caused him to shout back. "Do you understand what you are talking about? That woman you keep mentioning is the queen, the queen." "I said it already, she is not the queen, I am." Her complexion grew frostily cold at the rebuttal. "I will have her dead before I am through with her. In this world there can only be one queen, and that is I, Qing Shui. That human stole my status and destroyed my clan, for that she must die." At this moment, the enraged anger has caused the demoness eye to go bloodshot, indicating how poisonous her heart truly was. Staring blankly at that distorted expression, the man stammers in horror at what has become of his love interest. "You've changed, Qing Shui. In order to take the title as queen, you've changed. You weren't like this before. You have to help me, only you can help me in this world." In light of her further attempt to hide that darkness in those eyes, Qing Shui's soft voice not only didn't help, it only made her twisted appearance even worse. "Will you help me? This is for the sake of our friendship." Closing his eyes at that plead, the man makes one final smile of bitter sadness. "Fine, I will help you for one last time. Remember, we must finish off that little rabbit as well as the woman. I absolutely refuse to believe the rumors circulating in the air. What only she can give birth to the king's child, I can do it better and more." Smirking in a shady fashion, this demoness didn't even try to hide her cruel nature at all by this point. "That's right, I remember the palace has a bunch of powerful shadow guards, correct?" This time the man's expression was starting to turn ugly as well. He knows, if he returns to the palace again, then the chances of his escape would diminish immeasurably. "Qing Shui, I won't ask for much, just that you would remember me in the future if I were to die from this. Do not worry, you silly. You've helped me so much, of course I would remember you." Despite the soft comforting tone this snake used, her heart only sneered with contempt at the other side. "This idiot is so stupid, as if I would remember anyone but the king. Look at him, plain and ordinary, a disgrace of a man. If he wasn't still useful, then I wouldn't even approach him." Being the gullible fool that he was, the man's face grew firm at that affirmation. "Okay, I will help you. As long as she can remember me, then what else do I need? A person like me who can never see the light of day has no future. Even if it's just in memory, it's enough. Border of the demon realm. I will give you all another chance. Surrender or face a fate more miserable than death." Standing in the air with his dashing purple robe and silvery hair, the man remains as domineering and surreal as ever. Leave 6. Those below trembled at the threat. They honestly never expected the man to be so overwhelmingly powerful. So what if they are immortal and cannot be killed due to special reasons? Under the man's means, they would taste the flavors of hell for all eternal. After the surrendering of the first, the rest quickly followed suit and dropped their weapons. Humbly taking to the ground, they shivered in compliance. "Greetings to our king." On the side, the red-haired man known as Fire Plume had long been astounded by his lord's magnificence. "Aren't you bunch from the celestial realm? How can you bunch be such cowards? What you lot are doing is even below animals. Quit joking around." Twitching in the corner of his mouth, the fire bird looks over in awe at Deed Song to speak. Sire, these should be last of them. In a bit we would be able to break the seal as you wish. The dozens of people who appeared before were all too pitiful in terms of strength, that's why Ditsong destroyed them without a second thought. Only this last batch are worthy of getting a glimmer of his attention, hence the offer to surrender. The man's face appears calm, yet for some reason his heart's been feeling a little uneasy inside. Fire Plume, did you carry out the task as I instructed? Making a startled expression, the Firebird answers without delay. Sire, are you talking about the matter of informing the Queen regarding your brief departure? That's right. Making an awkward face, I bumped into the young miss from the Fox clan while on the road, so I had her pass on the message in my stead. What did you say? Ditsong's complexion instantly went dark, his momentum growing direly oppressive. You didn't go back in person to inform my wife or her people? Sire, that lady from the Fox clan? She seemed reliable enough. There shouldn't be anything wrong, right? Damn you! The man grew furious at his subordinate's inability to follow a simple order. Now he finally understood why his heart's been feeling so uneasy lately. Originally Ditsong assumed his woes were about breaking the seal and the issues that might arise along the way, but now it seems it was all because he's worried about his wife. Now General Fireplume was starting to panic as well. The unease only amplified once his lord just disappeared from the spot, causing him to realize he just made a huge mistake. It can't be, something happened to Her Highness? If it really is because of my mistake and caused the Queen to be harmed, then even in death it won't be enough to make up for it. Since that evening where she overheard that conversation, Bai Yan has never stepped out of the White Moon Palace again. Di Xiaowan of course came a few times afterwards. Unfortunately the princess was denied entry with no proper reason given. For the one closest to Bai Yan, the little steam bun would not be oblivious to the increasingly strange air hovering around his mother. As such, the boy had stopped playing around lately and kept to himself to accompany the woman at home. Little Rice, has it been 20 days since then? Bai Yan asks after opening her eyes from training. Giving a careful look up at his mistress, the baby tiger weakly answers, "It has, mistress. I was only planning to wait for him for 15 days, but now it's been 20 days since then." Making a bittersweet smile, she's clearly disappointed in her voice, and he hasn't shown himself since the coronation ceremony. Mistress, able to sense the sadness in her heart, Little Rice tries to make up an excuse at times like this. Maybe Ditsong isn't in the palace? I'm betting that one is a fake. Shaking her head at that claim, no, that can't be it. Right from the beginning me and him have had an agreement. He must tell me whenever he takes a long or short leave. But he never came, nor did he send someone back to inform me. There's nothing, not even a letter. Leave 7. Suddenly, Bai Yan's spirit lit up again at a certain thought. Little Rice, I want to ask you one thing. When Ditsong made the contract with me that day, wouldn't he also die if something happens to me? Even though the pair has been locked in with a spiritual contract that taps into their soul, Bai Yan didn't know any of the details surrounding the benefits and demerits of the deal. For example, the man could sense her whereabouts while she herself couldn't. That leaves Ditsong with the upper hand of the exchange. The baby tiger was now openly frowning. Do you want to hear the truth, mistress? Only the truth. Saying it like it's her last saving grace, Bai Yan shows off a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Truth is, a powerful individual can resist the repercussions of a contract when being broken. Unless he wants to die out of personal choice, the effects will at most reduce a large part of his strength with no threatening damage to the individual's life. The woman could actually hear her heart slowly sinking into the endless abyss at what she just heard. I understand. There's no more hope as she closed her eyes then. To think the outcome would be like this by giving out my love for the first time. How laughably ironic. Mother! It was at this moment that Bai Xiachen barged through the door, allowing his tiny body to plow into the woman's body for some nice intimate cuddles. Against the soft sensation of her son's body, Bai Yan's mood definitely felt a bit better. Son, are you willing to leave the demon realm with me? Dumbfounded by the sudden question, the boy promptly peeked up at his mother's face for some answer. Mother, are you going to leave? I miss your uncle, so I'm intending to leave the demon realm. But what about Baddie Father? The boy sounded troubled. It was so hard to coax Mother to come here. If we leave now, then what will Baddie Father do? Trembling at the mention, the woman's body immediately shook a bit before tightly wrapping her arms around that small little thing. Son, I want to go home. Let's go home, okay? I can't leave my baby boy here in the demon realm. I will never allow us to be separated. Bai Yan tells herself, afraid of what the other outcome might be if she does. Did Baddie Father bully you? The little boy makes a steaming face. I will go find Baddie Father now and make him say sorry. Son. In her urgency, the woman tries even harder to stop the boy from leaving. Don't go. Finding how ghostly white his mother's face was at the outburst, the boy grew sad and reflected in his voice. Baddie Father picked on Mother, so I don't want him anymore. We will go home and find Uncle. Mistress, the white tiger decides to add in after a moment of hesitation, do you know how to leave the demon realm? Making a mild smile at that, Bai Yan reveals her plan. I may not know, but Xiaowan does. The princess girl was able to break through the seal and enter the human world before, therefore she definitely has the knowledge. In light of the answer, the baby tiger just snorts like he's not biting the idea. Even if she does know, that Dumbaklutz isn't going to tell us. Otherwise, how else is she going to report back to her brother the king? I have a way for her to tell me. Picking little rice up from the bed with one hand, Bai Yan leads the way by holding her son with the other for the outside. Let's go, we will go find Xiaowan now. Currently the demon princess still doesn't know what was awaiting her or how she's become the target for a very dangerous scheme. In her eyes, there's only the table of delicious food laid out in front. The picture was so moving that tears are starting to coming out. You are the kindest to me, sister-in-law. You actually made all these great food for me. I just discovered that I truly have fallen for you. Smiling at the overly gratified girl there, Bai Yan's mood carried a hint of reluctance. Perhaps it's over the fact that she's about to leave without saying goodbye, or she's taking advantage of the trust the girl had for herself. Nevertheless, the feelings aren't any good. Xiaowan, I have been really curious lately. If the demon realm has been under the effects of a worldwide seal, how did you ever manage to leave in the first place? Leave 8. Scooping up a spoonful of the sugary bird nest soup into her mouth, Di Xiaowan happily spills the details as her cheeks flush a pinkish red from the delectable taste. Of course it's because state teacher told me. Every few years the seal would weaken and leave a tear open. At that moment, one can make it through and travel into the human world. Oh, then does that mean all the residences in this world can have a chance to leave if they so wished it? No, not exactly. Not everyone can leave as they wish. The area of the tear is guarded by state teacher's men. Unless the individual got permission from my brother or state teacher himself, they won't be permitted to leave. But it's different for you, sister-in-law. You are the queen of the demon realm, everyone must listen to you. Di Xiaowan obviously didn't know the thoughts of the other side and left nothing untold. Nevertheless, a doubtful curiosity did take root in the young maiden's heart. But then again, why are you asking me all this, sister-in-law? Are you going somewhere? Nothing, I'm just curious, that's all. Anyways, you take your time eating, I'll go back first and rest. Giving a stretch, she soon gets up to excuse herself to the wary-eyed princess. Di Xiaowan may not know what's going on, but that doesn't mean she's oblivious to the strange air hovering around the insecure woman. As soon as Bai Yan managed to emerge from the dining hall, the one to first welcome her was the little dragon girl dazing out next to the water stream. Queen. Perhaps able to sense the extra presence, the Missy turns around and cries out the name with the biggest smile ever. Dragony, would you like to leave with me? Bai Yan reaches over to caress the girl's head and asked. Wherever Queen goes, I will go. There's no falseness in those words, only the naive and innocence of a child that yearns to be with the one she deems kind and true. Okay, let's leave now. Together, hand in hand, the two females walked forward without looking back. Bai Yan did not need to go search far for the location of the tear this time. It's next to the altar where her coronation took place. This was something she investigated prior to asking the princess. And since she herself was the queen of this world, none of the servants or maids attempted to hide the fact. Fortunately, state teacher is in closed-door training lately. Otherwise, leaving will not be as easy. Revealing a bittersweet smile, she was now standing before the open rift leading to the human world. Mistress! Jumping off from those arms, the baby tiger showed a look of suspicious doubt in those eyes. Our luck can't be this good, the rift actually exists and is this close. Wrinkling her brow at that warning, what's wrong? Do you notice something odd about this? Truth was Bai Yan only came to test her luck and see if the tear in the seal still existed. If not, then she would look elsewhere for an opportunity. But to her surprise though, her luck was just that good it seems. At the same time in the air, two powerful individuals were exchanging looks of helplessness after witnessing this scene. In the end, they descended to carry out their orders. Greetings, Your Highness. Taking to their knees with respect, they went straight to the point by asking, Queen, are you intending to go to the human world? Bai Yan makes a light nod. Yes, I want to go back to my homeland. Does His Majesty know about this? The man wipes the cold sweat from his forehead, afraid to hear what's to come next. He knows, she lied without blinking an eye. What? Are you doubting me? No, your subject wouldn't dare. The two masters exchanged another look and quickly retreated. Di Tsong's speech about Bai Yan being higher in command than himself has already made headlines across the entire demon realm. Therefore, these men would never dare to test that order even if they had 100 lives. Come, let's go. Holding the boy and girl in each, Bai Yan leads the way. Leave, 9. Following from behind, little Rice was just about ready to jump into the rift when he overheard a hair-raising voice from behind. Hubby, wait for me, future hubby. Peeking around, the very image of Huang Xiaoing the tigress had sent him into a frantic state of panic. Without hesitation, he jumps into the unknown without looking back for a second time due to being scared out of his wits. Miss Xiaoing? The two masters originally wanted to block off the young lady, however, what came next left them utterly weak and helpless. That is my hubby, what is the problem in me leaving with my hubby? If the two of you dare to stop me, then I will have my hubby teach you two a lesson after I marry him. Beads of sweat came pouring out of the two's forehead again. That little white tiger is the queen's people. If she marries the tiger, then she too would become the queen's as well. Oh, crisis and oh. We can't afford to take such risk. Miss, this way please. Making the welcoming gesture, the two masters straightens their back in an orderly fashion. At least you two are smart enough. Cocking her chin in high spirit, Huang Xiaoing makes a jump without a speck of fear and disappeared into the rift. Beyond the spatial crack lies another world, a more familiar world to Bai Yan and her boy. Xiachen, we are finally back. Giving her son a hearty hug, Bai Yan's face was all smiles now that they're on familiar grounds. But just before any more could be said, a sudden scream of agony could be heard from little Rice. When the mother and son pair looked around over to see what's all the fuss was about, they quickly realized why. Lying atop of the baby tiger was another person, an unexpected stowaway. Hubby, are you okay? Hurrying to climb up from the floor, Huang Xiaoing asked apologetically. Narrowing those feline eyes of his, the tiger didn't sound pleased at all based on his tone. How come you are here? Marrying a chicken means following the chicken. Marrying a dog means following the dog. Since I've determined you as my future husband, then of course I got to follow you. All gleeful in her voice, the tigress picks up her unfortunate love target to hug him against that bountiful chest like a teddy bear. Resisting to no avail, the poor male cat could only use his words to make idle threats. You damn woman, let me go. If you don't, then I will use my mouth. Oh hubby, making a shy and embarrassed face, she wiggles that body like a love-struck maiden would. Please do, I'm already looking forward to that moment when you... That's about as far as that nonsense got. The reasoning, a bunch of people had appeared near them without any indication. Narrowing her eyes over this, Bai Yan was quick to pull her son behind herself for protection. I remember I've already dealt with those who were following me, why are you people still around? This group are the shadow guards of the demon realm. Di Tsong once brought them before her to show, that's why she's able to recognize their identity. So, how were they able to trace her location despite the fact that she's also using a specialty drug to hide her aura? Though the effects are short, It should have masked the scent from being discovered. Mother, are these baddie father's people? I can see they're only clones and not their real self. Blinking his baby blue eyes, Bai Xiachen had a tense look. If they're only clones, then my bloodline won't be able to suppress them. Just like the ancestor from the snake family, the boy's ability was useless due to the lack of flesh. Leave, 10. Bai Yan's expression sank as she stared coldly at the group in front, her lips curving into a satirical arc. What is the purpose of your visit? It can't be that you lot are planning to take me back? We have been ordered by the king to kill the queen. Kill the queen? These words were like thundering claps, sending the former into utter shock. The most affected had to be Bai Xiachen though, because the kid was in open denial now. Impossible, you're spouting nonsense. Baddie father loves mother so much, there's no way he would make such an order when he would always toss me aside. Collapsing from within, the little boy's heart hurted so much that tears now painted that once adorable face, making it aching and painful to those who watch. It wasn't just the boy either. Huang Xiaoying was also greatly stunned by the order. There's desperation plastered all over the tigress's appearance because she's aware of these people's identity too. These people really are the shadow guards from the palace. There's no falseness in their words. Only the king can mobilize these people and nobody else. Nobody. Queen, your son is the prince of the demon realm, so we won't be harming him. However, His Majesty's will is to not let you leave. You have two choices, either return with us or die here today. Although Qing Shui's order to her conspirator was to kill Bai Xiachen as well, but regardless of what that venomous bitch wanted, the man still had enough sense to realize the flaw in that plan. If he did order the death of the little prince, it would cause some serious concerns for suspicion. That's he withheld that part of the command and even changed Bai Yan's too. Well, it's not like that person wanted to give mercy, just that he knew Bai Yan wouldn't return no matter what since she's already stepped out of the demon realm. He really said it like so? Did he forget that we are in a contract? If I die, he too will be also greatly damaged by the backlash. The shadow guards were completely amazed and quite frankly taken aback by this piece of information. Nevertheless, it didn't take long for them to recover from the shock. His Majesty is a powerful being. Even if his strength is damaged in the process, it will only take a few days for him to return to normal. Bai Yan clenched her fist until the bones were crunching. So that's the case. The contract never did matter, it was all a ploy to fool me. Mother, he wants to kill you, baddie father wants to kill you. Gradually a dangerous light started to envelop the boy's eye, causing him to take on a more mature and spooky appearance. Why is he doing this? Why did he make such an order? I don't believe this. I won't believe it. Bai Yan's face grew exceptionally dark. Huang Xiaoying, little rice, the two of you are to watch over my son and Dragoni. Gently pushing her son away, she confronts the group in front, ready to begin battling for her freedom. I will come back to the demon realm one day, just that it's not now. With the wind blowing against her pristinely red dress, the majestic appearance of her wardrobe and personal aura gave the woman the perfect air of a royalty. The perfect image of someone that stands at the top of this world, just like her husband. Queen, His Majesty still has feelings for you. As long as you come back with us to the demon realm, then everything can be worked out. The leader of the Shadow Guard furrows his brow, troubled by the impending fight. He never wanted to make a move against the queen. Nevertheless, if he had to choose between a human woman or the man whom he swore loyalty to, it's going to be Ditsong. Mistress? Little Rice looked on worriedly at Bai Yan, causing his young heart to thump with immeasurable pain like it's been stabbed by a needle. Like her man, Huang Xiaoying also refused to believe reality and shook that head in denial. Hubby, what is happening? I don't understand this. Why is His Majesty doing something like this to Her Highness? Ho ho, Little Rice sneered at the question and made a disgusted and disappointed face. Me and Mistress accidentally came across something the king didn't want us to know. That's why we left the demon realm. Originally Mistress still wanted to hear an explanation from the king, but to think that bastard would put out the order to kill. Bai Xiachen's fury, 1. Atop of the edge cliff, the pain as the result of the betrayal has long left the woman numb to her core. Apologies then, Your Highness. Drawing their sword, the shadow guards began to move against the woman standing alone in the middle. Since Bai Xiachen was being protected by Huang Shaoying against his will, the boy could do nothing but stare lifelessly at the sky with those blood-filled eyes of his. "Highness!" Frightened by the boy's state, the tigress clutched down at the kid's shoulder to discover how dreadfully cold and stiff that body was. "Hubby, what is happening with His Highness?" She turns to ask the baby tiger, tears quickly filling up those eyes due to the urgency of the situation. Such a lifeless state was something she's never seen in the prince before during the time she's known Xiachen. "He wants to kill mother. He wants to kill mother." If one had taken a closer look, they would have discovered that under the dazed-out appearance of the boy's face, there's in fact a spark of fire slowly spreading across those pupils. He mutters, leaving his mind to fall deeper into the darkness until all that he could see were the increasingly pale look of his mother and the group of assailants constantly attacking her. Suddenly, a sword had made a deep strike across Bai Yan's waist, leaving her body bleeding heavily as a result of the wound. Boom! All sound seemed to have disappeared from the boy's world just then, leaving nothing but his own heartbeat constantly throbbing by his eardrum. "Oh!" Clutching that little head tightly, he lets loose an excruciating scream of terrible pain that caused even the sky to rumble. For the poor birds that has had the misfortune of flying through the area at the moment, the shock wave had completely killed them off by turning their brains to mush. These people, they all deserve to die. Everyone in the demon realm deserves to die. Anyone who hurts mother deserves to die. Then, without so much as another word, Bai Xiachen had gone silent, in mind and mouth. His eyes were blood red, not in the oppressive or threatening kind. It was the light of carnage and destruction for all those whom he deems as an enemy. "Son!" Supporting her own blood-stained body by using her own sword, Bai Yan attempts to climb up from the ground after fixating her sight on the boy. She still doesn't know why, but there's a strange air around the boy that she couldn't figure out why. Can't be. This is what Xiao Wan meant when he went through an anomaly? Without a pang of cuteness or the voice of a child, the boy's sound echoed like a surreal and omnipotent entity. "You dare to hurt my mother, die." Bang! He released an unimaginable amount of pressure, causing even these very powerful shadow guards to lose their stability and courage at contact. This is impossible. How can this be? Our real body isn't even there. How can His Highness's power force our souls to kneel? This is too powerful. Only His Majesty has ever been able to release such strength. Xiachen. After Bai Yan frantically took a pill to recover some of her strength, the woman's first thought was to run to her son's side to help. Bai Xiachen's fury, too. Only issue was that she didn't even get the chance to run to Bai Xiachen's side before the boy's figure disappeared from where he stood and reappeared in front of a shadow guard. With a smack against the forehead, the body of the individual deflates into a ball and makes a splattering sound of ethereal goop being impacted against a rock. Huang Shaoying, "Little Rice, help me stop Xiachen. We can't let him continue like this." Panic now has a stranglehold around Bai Yan's heart, causing her movement to stumble at every gesture. "Mistress, me and Shaoying can't stop little master." Standing apologetically behind Bai Yan's back, the baby tiger looks on with intense fear over the carnage-driven boy who looked nothing like the one he's known all these years. Ethereal blood soon stained the entire mountain range as a result of the boy's action. The once cuddly Bai Xiachen looked nothing like a human anymore. He's a beast, an animal that's completely out for blood and death. That's the form this boy has taken. It's as if there's a demonic monster inside willing to rip the world asunder. But finally, after struggle and effort, Bai Yan's hand did eventually reach over to her son's side. Pulling in the flailing boy who somehow didn't attempt to harm herself, this mother embraces her son with all her might like it's the only thing that could possibly stop this bloodbath. And sure enough, the creature may not be able to get a clear look at the person stopping him from the front, but the familiar scent was undeniable. Slowly, his sanity returns and causes that body to freeze over upon recognition. Mother? Is it mother? Yes, this warm, peaceful scent can only be from mother's body. There's no one else. Evoking a genuine smile at the thought, the bloodthirst which once shrouded those eyes gradually dissipated, allowing the adorable Bai Xiachen to return to this world. I looks like I made mother worry. I am sorry. He slowly closes his eyes, feeling the wave of fatigue quickly taking over. Xiachen. Bai Yan's hand jerked into a tight ball, her eyes staring intently at one of the remaining shadow guard who didn't get pulverized to mush yet. I know even if your clone is dead, your main body wouldn't be harmed, so pass on a message to Deetsong for me. The woman's laugh almost fell into a hysteria as tears covered up that face. I don't blame him for using me to save the demon realm, but he never should have gone this far to push us over the edge. I will never forgive him for the rest of my life. Boom. Before any words could be exchanged from the shocked guard's mouth, Bai Yan had already reappeared behind his back and sent a deadly palm strike down from above. Due to being injured from the start, this individual didn't waste much of her energy, thus making it a quick process. However, the bigger problem now lies in caring for her son, which Bai Yan was now feverishly trying to feed her medicinal pills to. Bai Xiachen's fury. 3. Why? Why are none of these pills working? After seeing so many of her medicinal herbs and pills being useless and her son remaining unconscious, Bai Yan's heart finally crumbled after putting on a strong facade for so long. Mistress? Huang Xiaoying gave a pained look at Little Rice before landing her eyes on Bai Yan. The prince, he might not make it. After saying that, she then went ahead to give the boy's body a sniff to confirm her thoughts. Shut up. Little Rice grew immensely angry over that remark. Near shouting in his voice, the loyal cat roars out at the girl, "Don't say things you don't know. How can Little Master not make it when he's not even injured?" Yes, Little Master is going to be fine, all he did was to show off his immense power. But, looking at Bai Xiachen's increasingly lifeless appearance, Little Rice's tears eventually couldn't hold back and begun pouring out as he jumped on top of the boy. "Little Master, you wake up, I beg of you. If you do, then I won't take your snacks anymore. I will give you all of the delicious food and I won't say anything to rebuttal you again. Please don't scare us and wake up, okay?" Sobbing and making a wailing cry now, "Your father have already abandoned Mistress. Without you, what will Mistress do? What will I do?" Bai Yan's distress wasn't so dramatic. Nevertheless, her distraught face and the piles of empty bottles on the floor was more than enough to show how desperate this mother was inside. "Mistress, can't you see what's wrong with Little Master?" Little Rice's eyes were laced with red due to his intense emotion running through his veins. Bai Yan did not answer his words, only allowing her fingers to touch the boy's face before muttering to herself, "Xiachen is my world. If he is gone, then I will subvert the entirety of the demon realm even if it means sacrificing my all." "Mistress," wiping some of his flowing tears, "I will join you. If anything happens to Little Master, I will get revenge with you." Swoosh, 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 it was then a group in black suddenly lands from above, thus surrounding Bai Yan and her group once again. "Mistress, they are puppets." Little Rice fiercely eyed the uninvited guests with wariness. Fully aware of the unexpected newcomers by now as well, Bai Yan slowly closes her eyes knowing full well what awaited and got up. "You take care of Xiachen while I handle them." "Mistress, then you," shaking in his heart, the baby tiger needed no more elaboration since things have come this far. These puppets are far more powerful than the ones at the market. To think Deetsong would really not let Mistress go and send